Oh my god, I didn't realize I had set it to schedule for a whole day in the future. Now it's a surprise live stream.
You guys like fucking around? Well, I hope you like finding out just as much, because many of you are about to.
Even if I found
tell me if you
my
can
dad
hear
left
me.
a negative YouTube comment.
And this.
I don't think I would ever recognize him as alive again.
Those people are worthless and they deserve to be made fun of.
How'd you get banned? What'd you do? What'd you say?
I think it was, why don't you say that to my face? And then there was a comma.
The internet is full of schizophrenic psychopaths dispensing their opinions everywhere in massive batches. Paragraphs on paragraphs of nonsense every day. Comments on comments.
Right this way.
Hey everybody, it's episode 5 of the incredibly rare live show, Comments on Comments, the show where I talk about stuff that's been said on the internet. The show where I go over things that other people said that I think are ridiculous and hilarious. And there's some drama going on among my group of friends, my group of internet friends. Probably not the first time you've heard me say that sentence. But it's been a little bit bonkers, and it's interesting because I'm involved in a way, but I'm not involved in the sense of like I'm on one person's side or another person's side. I'm observing the conflict and I'm making objective judgments about what's going on. And there's one side of the conflict who sees my objective judgment and says that is correct, and the other side that says that puts you against me, you know, having those opinions. And so in that way, it puts me on a side from the perspective of the person who wants everybody to be on a side. But what this is really going to be about, what this episode is going to be mostly about, is about this issue here. So, in case y'all didn't see Frog Tony's live stream last night, I highly recommend it. And I'm going to warn you, this is deep lore internet shit. It might not make sense to you if you're not already the word Frog Tony doesn't mean anything to you. Probably it might be a little bit difficult, but it's related to the biggest problem in the universe, the Dick Show. Most of the stuff I talk about on this Comments on Comments show tends to be because that's the sort of arena of the internet I tend to be sort of most involved in. You know, I've been a long time fan, listener, contributor. I'm in all the same back rooms as all these people, you know, the people who make the biggest problem in the universe and the Dick Show. And in particular, Vito here. Some of you might remember this, but like 2.5 years ago, Vito had a show called the Monday Night Grift, where every Monday he was doing a live stream show that he brought in a whole bunch of other YouTubers to be a part of. And in service of that show's existence, he created a DM group called YouTube Friendship Committee that he put all these people in, so that when the show is live, he could just put the link in that chat and everybody can go on the show. And I don't know if he started this trend or this is something he saw other people doing, but this very quickly became like the popular way that everyone within this sector manages their YouTube show. Is everybody's got a green room Twitter DM group that they all put a bunch of their friends in. And whenever they're doing a live episode, they just kind of post a link there and say, hey, whoever wants to be on. The same thing is true of this show right now. I have a Comments on Comments green room. I posted the link. Nobody's on yet. I guess nobody was ready at 10:40 on no notice on a Monday night. Understandably, you know, people got lives other than me. My life is being entertained by dumb bullshit on the internet. So I'll never run out of time for this. So what's happened here is that Vito got into a fight with Riley. And Vito dragged Riley's girlfriend Mint into the fight. And this got Mint upset in a way that started affecting Riley because he had to hear about it all the time. And so the two of them in tandem sort of made demands of Vito with the expectation of what would satisfy them as like an apology, which was mostly just to get a refund on their contribution to his yet unreleased kickstarted comic. Now, for context here, like they gave him like $350 on the Kickstarter. They've contributed to the comic in a bunch of other ways. Mint had drawn one of the trading cards that goes with the like extended rewards for this comic. We found out Vito had not paid her for that, even though she finished it like more than a year ago. And you see, Vito has been inactive for 5 months. Bully Lely, I don't know what you're talking about. He's active today, now, currently. So, unless you mean his YouTube channel, I don't know. He has multiple channels. He has like Vito and Vito 2, so it's possible that he was only posting on Vito 2 or something. He handles all of his stuff in a very weird way. And kind of really what drove this argument is that everyone looks at what Vito's doing and says like, well, this is weird. You should change this or that. And if you say those things to him, he's always going to throw it back at you. Some kind of reasoning why you're not allowed to give him that advice. Like, well, you don't know what you're doing. Your channel is run poorly. So how can you tell me how to run my channel better? And it's like, well, everybody's circumstances are different, but people are looking at your circumstances and telling you what it seems like you could do to change to fit the intent you seem to be going for, and you throw it back in their faces. And this is essentially what happened here. He threw it in Riley's face that Mint's channel wasn't as successful as his own, and as Vito's, I mean. And Riley was like, that's not even my channel. That's Mint's channel. I have my own channel, the Clipiverse channel, that Vito basically pretended didn't exist in the context of this argument. It was very strange. And so it escalated from there. They've been like both of them big leaguing each other back and forth, just being real assholes to each other in private, in DMs and stuff. And on and in public, but on text public, like in, again, like these DM group Twitter chats that they're both in a bunch of the same ones. So the argument is spilling over all these fucking Twitter group DM chats. It's spilling over multiple Discord channels. It's just this manic frenzy of these guys arguing all over the internet for like 4 straight days. This had been going on by the time I found myself pulled into it. So if you wanted to try to find all of this, well, actually, it just so happens that that Johnny Rockets on Twitter, who also compiled the Eric July drama page, compiled one for Vito. So I don't know if anybody's actually read this on a stream yet, so I might as well be the first. For over a year, people have mocked young Rippa 59, Eric July, for overreacting to young Clippa 69, Riley, and his girlfriend Mint Salad visiting Eric's warehouse. Riley taped money to the windows. More recently, Eric made the mockery worse by having Riley arrested when Riley visited Eric's fan event. Eric abused domestic violence laws unique to Texas. They're meant for women who left their abusive husband or boyfriend and want the men to stop posting about them. After the warehouse visit, Eric called the police and pretended Riley's threats to shave his shoulders was real and dangerous. Bitch move, obviously. Doesn't make you a woman in danger, Eric. Everyone said Eric was acting crazy, including Vito. Keep that in mind. Riley will likely walk, hopefully. Now, having learned nothing, Vito is freaking out about Riley potentially visiting his house. History is repeating itself faster than usual. Vito is now acting a lot like Eric. Why? Here's Vito defending Dave Chappelle's right to make transphobic jokes at a Netflix rally, which I don't know. This was hilarious. Vito doing this was funny. But the fact that he behaves this way, it is the level of contradiction in this man's behavior is crazy. The feud seems to have started with Vito and Andy Signor giving Riley YouTube advice. Advice Riley now openly calls retarded. He probably wasn't polite in private either. Vito retorted with, no, he was not. Vito retorted with Mint's channel having lower views than his channel to shut down Riley. Both Riley and Mint were then enraged that Vito used Mint to attack Riley. I kind of went over this. The shit-slinging argument repeated several times. Here's Frog Tony and Riley. This must have been at Too Many Games where we all hung out. I was probably somewhere just off camera when this was taken. Later, Vito banned fans and super chatters for calling him a pig or fat or fatty piggy, shit slurper, hogman, homo. Awful, just terrible insults like that. Episode 154 cost Vito and Dick money because of Vito's behavior. Riley shit on Vito for banning fans and said it was the worst thing you could do for a YouTube career. Any kind of creator career, really. Vito Discord banned Riley, then Dick unbanned him. Then Vito changed Riley's name in the Discord to I Love Vito and limited Riley's ability to send images. So this to me already, this is like a gross abuse of power. And I'm going to get it deep into this. This is the reason this episode is called Community Guys is I want to try to establish the idea of what I call a community guy. And it's who, unfortunately, most of the people on the internet are, and some of you probably are this as well. And to some extent, I am too, but I really, really try to fight against this. I've really set up, like, if you go to my Discord, I don't consider it very much of a community. I would say that it has a culture. There is a culture that surrounds me, but there's not a community that surrounds me. There's no one there's no way to like figure out who's related to who or like what are the friend groups. Like you would never find any of that out by joining my Discord. You would just see like who are the big posters in there, you know, and what are their tastes. And kind of the culture is defined by whoever posts kind of posting stuff they think other people there will like. And so it creates a sense of a unified culture. But it's not really a community. And I don't want it to be. And the biggest way I accomplished this is there's no general chat in my Discord. There's no reason to hang out there. Every single chat is topical. So that means you have to come in, talk about a topic, and then leave when you don't have anything left to say on the topic. You can't hang out. And I'll get deeper into like my whole team theory later. But I really think that the only reason you should view yourself as like siding with someone is incidental to a specific instance. Like you can be on someone's side in one instance and against them in another instance. And those two things don't like neither one like means that you are friends with them or precludes you from being friends with them. Like you can agree with somebody and work together with something on something. And that doesn't mean that you have to like now be fucking 10 toes down for them in all scenarios, you know, and vice versa. Like just because you do love someone doesn't mean you have to like agree with their shitty takes or whatever, you know, like, and I think that's where like what Vito doesn't get. There's this team guy mentality he has. And I'm breaking this down so much because he gets called out on this constantly. He's always being told that he's a team guy, that he uses the phrase we too much, that he's always trying to find people who agree with him and support his stance, because when he can't find the words to defend himself, he brings in someone else defending him. And he says, well, look, this guy's defending me. This guy's being reasonable. This guy's on my team. And it's like, I don't care about that guy. I don't care what that guy, that you didn't say that. And you might not understand what that guy means by that. You know, or I might have a different idea what that guy means by that than you do. But like the thing that made like early internet anonymity and stuff like 4chan work was that you could not stand on who you are. You had to stand on the strength of literally what you're saying. You have to say, you just have to make your point because you're nobody. You're anonymous. Nobody knows who you are. They only know the point you're making. And that was to prevent community. It was so it would not develop a sense of community. It didn't necessarily work. Like there definitely formed communities through 4chan, but more of it was people who formed a community and left, or people who said, hey, let's go make a community. You know, like Katawa Shoujo being developed. That was like people meeting on 4chan and going and making a thing. And that's a community, but it's not 4chan community. It's 4chan culture. And very much imitating 4chan in this one way is to try to develop culture. Mine is not an unrestrained Wild West culture. Mine is a very particular, but Vito is somebody who wants to cultivate a community that allows him to do things like this, that allow him to take advantage of, well, I'm the guy and I'm the big boss, I'm in charge, and I'm going to make the pot, like, I get to sort of manipulate populist opinion by using my position to make you look like your opinions mean less because they're coming from you instead of from me, and my opinions mean more. Anyway, I'm going to read more of this. Any kind of creator career relief. Vito Discord ban Riley. Yeah, I read that. Vito again brought up Mint's low YouTube numbers. Here you can see that this episode, this article is almost underselling. Like, Vito banned a lot of people. He banned a lot of super chatters. He banned a lot of patrons from the Discord and from the YouTube chat. And like, people literally, you can see here, they dropped 4.1% in their earnings in the course of about a day because people were really upset. This is very recent. Yes, this all happened in the last week. This basically is the result of last Friday's. It's this happened on the last biggest problem. Last Friday maybe it was two biggest problems ago. Yeah, he banned all kinds of people. He banned people who have been longtime patrons. I mean, Riley is one of the biggest fucking patrons of anyone's show. Anyone in this realm, Riley gives a lot of money to, If you have no idea what the hell is being talked about, you got to catch up on the rest of comments on comments. You've jumped in on episode 5. Make time for the other 4. You'll probably figure it out eventually. That last stream was crazy. You never seen me angry like that, like ever. I used to get more like that back in the day, back in the old, maybe before Trixie was around. I used to get more angry like that. But I was also quite drunk on the cheapest box wine, like cooking wine. I hope you will understand why by the end of this stream. I want to make it clear what was so upsetting, because I'm reading this as context, but this is really what I'm responding to with this video. This comment right here. We're going to get to it. I'm just foreshadowing it so everybody knows where this is going. Hey, Vito, do you want to come on here? And everybody's got the link. But I'm reading Johnny Rocket's summary of your drama right now. So then Vito appeared on EVS's Trashcast. EVS tried to convince Vito to calm down and walk back from the lolcow ledge. Or is it lolsow? On this stream, Vito misinterpreted why Mint was upset with him. He said it was because he hadn't promoted her. She's really mad because he is rude, hadn't paid her for the trading card she made for Superkiller, uses her to insult Riley, refusing to refund Superkiller, and not publicly donating to Riley's defense fund. Vito donated anonymously. Mint doesn't think that counts. Vito says he will apologize to Mint if he calls her. He does not want to do it over text for some reason. Vito misinterprets Mint more on episode 155 of The Biggest Problem. Then after that episode, Vito, Mint, and Riley had a 3-way call. 3 calls, in fact. Vito is here. All right. You don't want to have camera on, Vito, or do I need to wait for you to set that up? Okay, hold on. Give me a moment to I have to adjust my mindset here of what I'm doing. Because normally I just read comments on this show. I don't usually talk to the commenter. But we can change format. All right. I'm bringing you in, Vito.
How's it going?
Holy fuck, you are loud in my ears. Hold on.
Oh, am I loud on this? stream?
No, it's not your fault. I'm just I had my volume turned literally at maximum. How's it going, Vito? How's your night?
Terrible.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Have
What's up,
you
Bird?
shown the stream
Me and Bird-
yet?
Oh, I know. Bird immediately came in to let everybody know that I'm drinking Lolita beer. Just because Vito is here. Yeah.
It's good. It looks
Just
tasty.
Lolita from Goose Island, a wild Belgian style ale. With
This actually
raspberries.
tastes crazy. It does taste
It's
like
supposed
raspberry.
to. So wild ales have, I believe, live yeast still in them. Or no, it's not live yeast. It's like, yeast you'd find in the wild. So it's not a specific yeast like a lot of beer companies will use.
Yeah.
It's just random fucking yeast you find out there. Isn't that neat? Isn't that cool?
It is neat.
How is it? Let me give it a
It
taste.
tastes crazy.
I'll pop in to actually be a part of this later.
Okay. You're gonna have to bring your headphones and do your own
Yeah, I know. I got all that. I'll probably do it in the garage. Hi, Vito.
Hey. Did you lose weight or something? You look different.
What?
He asked if you lost weight or something. He said you look different. It's the hair.
Oh, yeah.
cut the-
I got
the hair's way
I got a
different.
haircut.
He used to have
I got
the long
short
hair.
hair now. I've actually gained weight probably since the last time you saw me. I went from God,
hair
when was the
looks,
last time I saw Vito?
Like 8 months ago.
Yeah, I was probably like 180 the last time I saw you. I'm like 210 now.
Bulk.
Yeah, I mean, I got bigger shoulders. That's pretty much it.
You
But yeah,
look
I'm
good. I don't want to say you look
bopping
good
around
because that
doing, my own
implies that you
stupid,
didn't look
silly
good
stuff.
before.
So I'll be back in a bit.
Okay, good. I guess you can't hear me.
Nope.
You look different.
Lolita beer. Okay. Vito. I assume that you have. Is there a particular reason that you want to call in and talk to me tonight?
I want to
before
talk about
start?
Pokemon Gen 4.
No, I don't want to do that.
I want to talk about talk about Card Captor Sakura.
Have you read this summary of your?
I saw
drama?
somebody else reading it. It's one of these Rashomon type things where this game of telephone just goes on, and then one guy goes, "Oh, I know everything that's going on," and you go, "Yeah, this is not what's."
It's a pretty fucking funny explanation.
It's very funny. It's not exactly accurate in any way, but it is funny.
What do you mean that it's not accurate in any way? Everything that's described here did happen.
Okay, so like when it says Vito didn't want to apologize to Mint on text for some reason, isn't that something it said?
Yeah. Why didn't you want to do that?
Okay. See right there. I did try to apologize in text a bunch of times, and Mint was still upset. And I said, you know what, man, I think apologizing over text doesn't work. Why don't I just call you? But it doesn't become Vito tried to apologize in text and it wasn't working. So then he asked her to call.
Okay, I don't care.
Vito refused to. Why do you not care?
This detail doesn't matter to me. I am indifferent to it, and it's not.
That's very important. I don't understand why that's not important.
It is important to you. It's not important to me because I'm not invested in your conflict in that way. Like I don't.
But isn't it good if I was trying to apologize? Is that not good? Isn't that what I'm supposed to be doing?
I don't care. I'm not.
So you don't care if
Riley
I
or
Mint
Mint.
or not? Okay.
Nothing to do with me. That part. Okay. So here's where.
Well, I mean, it shows that I was trying to de-escalate
Were you listening
a situation.
to this show before you came in? Were you listening to what I was talking about before you joined?
A little bit, I guess. You were reading that article.
I was, but mostly as context to set up for the particular discussion I'm having is about what I call a community guy. It's something I'm basically accusing you of being. Is a type of guy who likes to be a part of a community because you like to have the sense of power that comes from being in a higher seat within that community, and to be able to treat people as though they are below you because you have a more stature within that community. And it's something that I work really hard to avoid letting that even happen around me. And I think Dick does too. And it inevitably kind of does, especially in the communities that will spring up around you that you kind of don't touch, but
can you give me an example of a community?
Like, for instance, I was pointing out in that Johnny Rockets summary, he talked about how at one point you, in the biggest problem Discord, you started like banning people and changing Riley's name to I Love Vito, and basically like using the fact that you have authority in this context as leverage in the arguments. Like you're making it so because you are more powerful in this environment, that's how you're going to win, as opposed to by making a better argument or, just.
Okay, so it's a show to Discord, right? The biggest problem, Discord.
Mm-hmm.
And what is the biggest problem? Is it me and Dick? Or are you going to say it's a larger thing that everybody should be equal in? Like, who's at the top of the hierarchy there? No one?
Nobody should be. I don't think it should be a hierarchy. I mean, you could
for biggest problem in the universe, you don't think Dick and Vito should have any sort of status above anyone else? Everyone's equal. The two guys.
Not
who
if you're having an argument with people in like a forum of conversation. Like,
Well, what argument? Okay, what was the argument that I banned someone for?
I have no idea. That's not
okay.
It doesn't matter. I don't remember.
But here's the deal: I don't remember banning anyone from an argument. I remember banning someone because they went, "Hey, Vito, you're a fat piece of shit." Now, can you understand why in a Discord for the show, where I'm trying to put on a show and I'm trying to make it like a positive thing for the fans, that I might go, you know what? I'm banning this guy. I think he's negatively contributing to the show.
I think you have to, if you're going to do stuff like that, you really have to come at it from the angle, like, I am an authoritarian dictator and everyone needs to come in here understanding that, like, if you cross these lines, you're just done. And you have to really
insulting
set that
the host of
boundary,
the podcast, on
you
his
can't take that as implicit
Discord
though.
server.
You just can't take that as like, if you were around in the early days of the Dick Show Discord, like, Max Cephalophore, Maxwell Kimball, who always has it out for you on Twitter, in various group DMs.
I have no idea who that is.
You never seen the name? You argued with this dude today in like at
I
least.
think I unblocked them after several years. This is the first time I've seen that person in years.
I see. Well, that's Maxwell the Silver Hammer Kimball, very OG Dick Show, one of the first callers. He was kind of one of the first people doing like a Riley type of thing, of like bringing people onto the show. And he was like 16 at the time, incredibly edgy. And he would hang out in the Dick Show Discord and basically just antagonize Tab, Mad Cucks. Mad Cucks was the mod of the Dick Show Discord. And Mad Cucks would just like get angry and argue. And it would lead to him arguing with Maxwell Kimball like all day in the Discord. And Kimball would attack everybody who came on. He attacked me the first time I came on. And I remember I jumped in and I just, unlike Tab, who was like sincerely angry, I was just like kind of thought this was funny. And I'm going back and forth. I'm like, you're a dumbass little kid. Shut the fuck up. Go home. Stop being on the internet. You should be asleep in bed. That kind of shit. I did my appearance on the show, whatever. And a couple of years later, probably the third time I called in, Riley was now the manager of the Dick Show Discord. Tab had stepped down. He wasn't really as involved in the universe after the whole lol suit thing. And Riley had cleaned it up and made it this very nice place that was organized and like encouraging. And it was because when people laughed at him or dissed him, he just kind of took it in stride and went, haha, you're right. Haha, yes, indeed. And like nobody felt like they could fuck with him up until a point when he started hanging out with me and defending me. And that really caused a rift because there were a lot of people who did view it as like this weird little team sport community, like these people who hang out in the Discord all day long, who like just basically live there and like are angry at everybody all day. And Dick doesn't know who any of these fucking people are. He's not hanging out in there like, with these little guys who live in the Discord, but they're the only people who ever kind of like got upset at Riley, and tried to attack him over specifically aligning, like not being disgusted with me or you, Vito, eventually. But like, so what I'm trying to say,
you're upset I banned people from the Discord because it puts me above them.
I think that,
and I banned one guy who said you're a fat piece of shit.
this goes way beyond you banning people from the Discord. It's more that I'm talking about the way you think. The way you think is this team mentality of trying to create a sense of like there's people backing me. Like you want it to be that you win because so many people agreed with you, or so many you can point to so many other guys, or like pull in a quote from somebody who said that you were right. And I'm like, I don't care about any of those fucking people. I care about what you said and how you defend yourself. I don't care if you got.
Okay,
I
you
mean,
don't care about public opinion, basically.
Yes.
Yeah, of course. People are going to come to their own consensus, but a lot of people are swayed by public opinion, and when they see that a lot of people agree with one thing, they go, "Well, that's if everybody's going that way, then maybe I'll go."
I don't
way.
like that you use that as your argument because it's.
Well, what is it an argument
I mean,
for? What do you mean
I
it's
would
my
look.
argument?
I mean, if you are presenting, when you do things like go on Twitter and post a screen cap of a Reddit thread of people saying they agree with you, that's what I'm talking about.
Trixie, if I made a video and it got 1 million upvotes and I posted it and I said, look at how many people like my video, would that be reasonable for me to go, well, look at the quality of this thing I made?
I think there's a difference between you celebrating your victory in like a I achieved a personal goal kind of way versus like I'm winning an argument against somebody.
So if I did a debate against somebody, and the debate, all the upvotes, it says Vito smashes idiot in debate, and all the upvotes are clearly on my side, that would be something to not take pride in, or is irrelevant?
I would say that I am kind of disgusted with when people are that way. I mean, like, so here's the reason why I don't like. Yeah, I'll tell you exactly.
I mean, obviously, we don't like the tyranny of the majority, and obviously, the majority is not always right. And the fact that somebody got the most votes is not indicative. But I don't see why it's unreasonable to go, hey, I can't say I'm 100% right, but it seems like the audience seems to be backing me up.
It's because the audience wants to be able to back a team. Like the audience is there to watch a sport and to pick a side and to have fun, like they don't want it to be this weird, nuanced, fucking gray area thing where they have to keep track of everything everyone said to understand what's happening. Like the audience wants it to be team sports, and if you make it that for them, then that's how they're going to treat it.
Okay, so you're upset with me posting Reddit stuff, but when like Mint and Riley go, start retweeting, their friends or guys like Dick that they think support them. Is that above board? That's one person.
I mean, I would have to see the context to specifically talk about whatever they posted, but like, I'm not here to defend anything they do. That's not my purpose here. I'm here to talk because at the end of the day.
So what you're saying I did something wrong, right? This is what this is about, or my attitude is wrong.
It is your. Do you understand why the Vito the Gay Team Guy song exists? Like what that song is trying to communicate about you?
It's trying to say that I always side with the liberal viewpoint no matter what.
I don't think that's what it's trying to say. I think it's
trying
to say that it's not about the liberal team, though. It's not that specific. It
always has been. What do you think it's about?
I think there are a lot of people who make it about that and I disagree.
That's how it got started.
Sure. I will say that a lot of Dick's audience just will say like, well, all these liberals, they're all, which, and you know what? I don't even disagree with that, but I just think being liberal is being a cult and being a community. And like, I hate cults. I hate the mentality of like, I'm going to back my team because it's my team. It's something a guy from my team said, so therefore it's okay, or I'm going to pick a side because I see a conflict happening. Like, it's just so reactionary. And like Tony from Hack the Movies has been telling you many times that the best way to handle this would be to simply ignore it entirely. And I do believe that if you like logged off the internet for 2 days, everyone would forget you existed and any drama you had would be gone. I know this because
I disagree. I disagree with that being the best way to handle things, because here's what's happening is as Dick said on the Dick Show on Sunday, he said Riley's part of the show. And what I'm trying to say is, okay, if Riley's part of the show, that means that bits that Riley do are part of the show, right? If Riley goes, Riley goes to Eric July's warehouse, that's also considered part of the show. Would you agree with that? And this is based on Dick's words saying Riley's part of the show.
I have no opinion about anything being said right now.
Okay.
You can continue.
Sure.
Just get through
So
your
I'm
explanation.
being told that Riley in some way is associated with the show. And Riley's going on Discord. Riley's making videos where he's going, I'm going to assault Vito. Let me finish this because I already know things you're going to say. He says, very specifically, he said, I'm going to slam Vito's head into concrete. I'm going to commit property damage and theft. And we're saying these are jokes, right? Trixie, would you agree those are jokes?
Yeah, those are jokes.
Okay, those are jokes. So I'm saying, and I'm communicating, if Riley's part of the show, I can't do a show where the joke is, let's smash Vito's head into a cinder block. The reason for that is not that I think Riley's going to do that. The reason is because I'm worried a fan will hear a podcast that says it would be really funny.
That's like saying that you're worried that somebody's going to play a fucking violent video game and go on a shooting spree. Like if
there was a video game in which I was in my house and you could come in and shoot me in the face, yeah, I'd be pretty upset about that and I wouldn't endorse it.
I think that's retarded. I think
you think it's retarded. Do you think it's retarded that if there was a video game?
How many times have you celebrated when something like this is made about another celebrity?
Like what?
Like a video game or a animation of something happening to, say, Donald Trump or something. You don't think if there's a video game about?
Okay, did Donald Trump participate in making it? Is it a part of his show? I've never seen a celebrity say, "Here's my show," where the joke of the show is me getting punched in the face. Now, if somebody outside of my show wants to,
have you ever heard of Rusty Cage? The joke of his show is, "I'm building a guillotine to kill myself with." Like,
so he's making a joke on his own behalf.
Lead to a bunch of people.
That's a suicide. Nobody can suicide him. He can only suicide himself.
I just don't understand why you would think that everyone would go like, I'm a part of the show too, therefore I'm gonna also drive to Vito's house. Again, the problem is
saying
that
it's funny on the show.
It's you keep like creating this universe where this would happen, and that's the only reason that it ever would.
Let's assume that it'll never happen. I'm uncomfortable with the show's joke being, let's smash Vito's head into concrete. I don't find it funny. And in order to do a good show, I want to say, you know what? That's a line too far for me. And I really hope people will respect that line.
If you weren't like jokes are funny guy, this would hit different. But like,
no, I don't think slamming a guy, I don't think saying I'm going to slam your head into concrete is a funny joke. Like, I don't even consider that a joke. When I say jokes are funny, I don't mean, hey, Trixie, I'm going to hold you down and rape your fucking asshole. Like, because that to me is over the line.
The fact that you even said it just now means you do think it's a joke.
Because no, I don't. I think you would have reacted. And
so then you're saying that you just said something that you consider to be over the line just now.
Did you think it was funny?
Apropos of nothing.
Did you think it was funny?
I thought it was funny that you said it in the context you did. Yeah, I was like, wait, what?
A lot. But let's be clear. If I called you up screaming about it, I don't think it would be as funny. And I don't think it would be funny if you weren't in on the joke.
He didn't call you up. You called them. And
wait. Hold on. Why do you keep saying that?
Is that not the case? Did you not call Mint?
Okay, so here's what happened. I said, no, I didn't have her number. The only way I gave her my phone number in a DM group, and I said, please call me. Well, the show was off. She tried calling me a bunch of times, and the second I turned my phone back on, she called me again.
I assume Vito is talking right now.
Yeah. What's up?
Vito, let's take a shot.
I don't have any alcohol. Yeah, sure, let's do it. No, I do. I have a big thing of alcohol.
No, he didn't realize
I'm drinking a big thing of alcohol right now. Let's do it.
He's doing it. I think he's probably faking it.
On 3.
Vito, better not be faking it.
I'll be very
disappointed.
He's almost certainly faking it.
What alcohol does he have?
What alcohol do you have? Vito?
Brand name.
Whiskey. Super whiskey.
It's not a brand name.
Super whiskey.
Super whiskey. All right. Is that like Super Killer, where a guy goes out through all the
non-existent? You mean? Yes, it is exactly like Super Killer in that way.
Let's do it.
I was trying to lighten the mood a little bit. I was trying to pop in and go like, let's have a shot. Let's have fun. Because I'm genuinely just sitting in the garage waiting for my phone and headphones to charge so I can actually be on this stream and be drunk and a nuisance.
Amazing.
But anyway, Vito, I'm gonna
let's drink it.
You got a shot ready?
Quickly. I got it ready. Yeah. Or Trixie, tell him I have it.
He's got it. He's
All
ready.
right. 3, 2, 1. L'chaim.
Hey. Mm.
He made like a glug glugging noise as if drinking.
This
something.
motherfucker's
good.
fucking with me,
That's good.
man.
Oh, that burn's going down.
Sorry.
Here's
Before I
okay.
come on and I'm probably really mean, Vito is kind of funny.
He's funny. That's why. That's
No.
the reason any
I'm
of this
being
is
somewhat
happening.
detrimental. He's kind of funny.
Kind of.
Kind
Funny.
of.
Okay. Just kind of.
The
right,
stream's
Trixie.
going great, by the way.
Thank you.
I'm enjoying it quite a lot.
I don't
We're
feel
a
like
little
I've
drunk.
even made a tenth of.
No,
a point.
you haven't made any dent whatsoever into
No.
whatever you're trying to dent into.
I've
But I
rarely
am
do
having
I.
a hell of a time, and that's what matters to me personally. So, I'm gonna keep listening. I'll pop in let's say 15 minutes.
I mean, the
All right,
hardest part of this is that what I've been trying to record a vlog all day to try to express what I think a community guy is and why I think it's such a problem and how you and several other people are examples of it. And I ended up throwing out several vlogs. I'm being attacked by a Blahaj now.
No, Blahaj is explaining how disappointed it is with Vito.
Blahaj.
Just generally. Blahaj.
Blahaj should tell everybody to give me super chats. I haven't gotten one single super chat in
It's
41
me,
minutes.
Blahaj. Oh my god.
Cheap.
Oh my god.
Cheap.
Vito might end up calling this an unoriginal bit later in the.
All
I haven't
so
even bothered
are we gonna
reading
do
the
this?
chat.
But
Are we gonna do
there's no
this?
you
money.
should be
Trixie?
giving us super chats
All right.
because Blahaj is here.
Are we doing this or
Enough of you.
Yeah.
I can't even pay attention to what you're saying. All right.
Okay, so let me ask a question. Trixie, you're really hung up on the idea that I called them. Can you explain why?
I just thought that you did. I thought that is what the fact is, that you called them,
No,
not that they called you.
They called me.
Okay. I'm not like invested in it as an idea. It's just what I thought was the case. And so
I gave
I've
them my
started
phone number and
moving
they called me. I
John
don't
breaks
get,
bad
a lot of people
news.
seem hung up on that for some reason.
John Breaks Bad News at $5 says, I love all you guys.
I love you
Thank
too, John.
We all love you.
Okay, so they called me in what?
I don't remember. You got me so off on that tangent.
All right, well, we're talking
much
about
more
community
concerned
guys, and
my
I think
core
you're
idea. Yeah.
the idea is that I have power and I should have. You don't like it.
It's not that you have it, it's that you want it. You want to have a sense of people like agree with me and I've got a backing and that's what I'm going to swing around. Like that's something I can use as a weapon in.
What human being doesn't
I don't
want
know.
to feel like people, respect them? What is different about this from any other human being?
I feel uncomfortable when people like express
with you?
If they agree with me blindly, yeah. Like
But I don't
if
think
they
it's
agree with me
blind.
just
What do you
because
mean
they're like a
blindly?
fan. I mean, like most of these people.
Well, if we're talking about agreeing with people just because they're a fan, I mean, I don't think I'm the one who benefits the most from that. You don't
in
think
what
Dick
context?
benefits? You don't think Dick benefits from having a long-standing fan base?
I
that was here
think you.
before I showed
I
up?
think you benefit from it in the conflict with Riley and Mint, in the sense that this conflict is perpetuated mostly through a show that you are the host on, and neither of them is. And especially like with Riley, it's one thing because, like you said, he's like a part of the show, and I guess Mint, she draws thumbnails and stuff, so she is also technically a part of the show. It's just the way that she got pulled into it really was. I don't think. Oh, this is so fucking hard for me to explain because I feel like I'm trying to. Like, if I want you to understand what I'm trying to say, I have to be extremely hyper rational in the expression. I can't use like an emotional, empathetic approach because I can see where you're gonna get
You're gonna
lost
nail
on
you.
the details of it.
You're gonna nail you to the fucking wall.
Plague on Humanity with $10 says to check your cord for a suggestion. And since I got paid, all right. I love suggestions and people who've been paid. What is this suggestion? There's a point that was made in passing that I wanted to go ham on. I'm really thinking hard. I'm willing to be a neutral party. Oh, you're talking about like you're trying to jump into this call? I'm not. I've given the link to everybody that I want in the call, and so far only Vito has joined. But I I don't need a
You got to give me something, Trixie. I've been here for like 20 minutes. You got to give me something.
Sir Seat Sitters here.
You got to echo because he has his speakers on.
Sir Seat Sitter, you're not coming through. Your headphones don't seem to be go correct. I'll bring you in when you've got that figured out. It's more like a problem of, I feel like you're not
You don't like
interested
that
in,
I have the audience on my side because
No,
it's
that's-
unfair. But it's
not
unfair
even-
to Riley and Mint because they don't have the same audience.
It's the problem is that you're so in this conflict. It's hard for me to talk to you about this as something beyond the conflict, because I'm looking at it more like a pattern of behavior that you always exhibit, that like this is just one more example of. But it's oh, Ben Saint is here. Ben, do you want to come in and try to argue about this yourself? We could do it. I'll bring in him.
Feel like this is maybe you need more time to get your thoughts together.
Only if you're terribly impatient and don't feel like having a conversation with me right now.
Well, okay. So you've said it's part of a pattern of behavior, but I assume you can't really name specifics. It feels like this is based on feelings.
Everything's based on feelings.
No, things should be based on specific examples. It's like when people say, "Hey, you're creepy." That's a feeling. And I go, "Can you give me an example of me being creepy?"
Feeling. It's a very important feeling.
Okay, you have a very important
actually
feeling.
Asking for examples about why you're creepy is creepy in and of itself. Do you see how that could be the case?
No. I think if you accuse somebody of being creepy, you should be willing to tell them.
I think a part of what makes someone creepy is that they can't tell that they're being creepy. That's what.
But then it's just it's completely, again, like I said, it's just feelings. It's not.
You're asking people You're asking people to go out of their way to express empathy towards someone who makes them uncomfortable, to try to help them along with understanding their own uncomfort that they might be incapable of understanding. I think that's like asking for a terrific reach from people.
Trixie, you're gross.
I mean, you can think that. I don't. That doesn't bother me.
And you have no interest in finding out why I think that about you.
Do you have a reason?
No, because I'm using hyperbole here. I don't actually think you're gross. But if I did, wouldn't you be curious to find out if you had done something that was the reason I was calling you that?
See, I don't like to speak in hypotheticals because that's just not a reality I can really entertain. Like it's not something that would happen. Like you would not tell me I was gross out of nowhere.
I'm sure somebody else has at some point called you gross.
Yeah, and like my reaction, I mean, depending on who it is, I might ask why, or I might just like cry and walk away and like be upset and think about it for 10 years, you know, like I think it's, to me, if somebody calls me gross, I think, this person wants me out of their space, you know, like this person doesn't want me around. Like, I'm not sitting there trying to like justify myself to continue being allowed there. I'm like, let me get out of this place. I'm not wanted, you know?
I guess, look, when you tell me like there's a pattern of behavior though, because that's something you said, is I'm like, well, I don't think you have examples.
But I don't.
I think this is just you going, well, I feel like there's a pattern of misbehavior.
I mean, I gave you one example, but you're so lost in the particulars of like that example. You're not looking at what it means about you. Like you think that my problem is that
I need to figure out if this problem is in your head or if it's something that can objectively be defined by evidence. And it's sounding to me like it's in your head and maybe some other people's heads.
Nothing can be objectively defined by evidence, Vito. That you
can
define
get
things
a lot
by
closer. It can get you a lot closer. If you said like, "Hey, Vito did this thing," I would go, "Well, that is a good argument in Trixie's behavior or for Trixie's theory." But your theory is there's a pattern of misbehavior, and if I go, "Well, can you explain?"
It's not misbehavior. That's
it's a pattern of behavior.
It's just it's the way most people are. Is the other thing. It's that my expectations of the people that I hang out with are kind of that you exhibit a behavior that a level of self-awareness above what is typical of people, because most people aren't capable of like being good. Like most people are just going to kind of give into the base instinct to pick teams and group think and be in the moment and just choose whatever's convenient all the time. And it requires constantly stepping outside of yourself and constantly assessing what you're saying and what other people are saying and really thinking about their word choices to like avoid being that way. And I just think that you're capable of all that, but you're lazy about it. And you like being lazy about it, and you are opportunistic about being lazy about it, in the sense that when you don't want to have to carry intellectual weight, you find people around you who are doing it for you, and you kind of latch on to them. You know?
You mean like people criticizing Riley and Mint?
Yeah. In
Well,
this
I think the reason I would post people posting about Riley and Mint is I can up and down say I think what Riley and Mint are doing is bad. You know, I can say that all day long, and people are going to go, yeah, but you're too close to it. It's happening to you. And I go, okay, well, why don't we get an outside perspective from people who are looking in, who are not directly connected to it? We don't have to worry about what Riley and Mint are doing. What is the outsider perspective? And I go, well, here's a good outsider perspective.
Why would you value that perspective? They don't know what's going on.
I absolutely value the perspective of people who are looking in at a situation and saying, based on what I see, Vito's in the right here.
But they don't see anything. They don't see enough. They don't like. That's the people I trust the least.
Okay, but here's the thing. They've seen.
Hello, Manny.
What I would consider to be the most important things. They've heard the phone call, and that's probably the only thing that I need them to hear. They heard the phone call. What else? What other?
They need to hear everything. All of it. Like
what?
Okay, this is something that bothers me about like the news, for instance, right? Like if they report on something, they don't like know what happened. They know what they think happened based on what evidence is there. And then they report that and they put a spin on it.
Johnny Rockets article you were reading.
I would agree. Yes. This is somebody putting together a bunch of tertiary, post hoc evidence. But Johnny Rockets was also there for a lot of it and watching it happen in real time. And when it's all being done in text, in DMs, or in recorded calls, there is logs. It's all there. Like you don't.
He
said
what
he was doing is a slant.
He said I did not. He said Vito refused to apologize to. Well, I don't know exactly your phrase, but he said Vito would only apologize to Mint on the phone, which is.
I'll agree with you. It is a sensational news article.
And Johnny Rockets is also clearly on Riley's side. The whole thing is written from a bias. It's not a.
Yeah. I would say all news is like that, and it's a problem I have with news, because what it creates in the audience is if you feel like empowered towards the opinions you already have, like say you hear about a gun death and you go, this is why they need to ban guns. Like that's what the news is trying to get you to do. It's trying to get you to have that emotional reaction where you get all upset and you go team, we're gonna get her done this next election, and you stop paying attention to whatever else is going on because you're infuriated and you're feeling activated by this thing. And I think that the people who are watching from the sidelines, if they're interested at all, it can only be on that level. It can only be on the level
audience. What if they're the audience that's paying for the show? Does their opinion matter more to the people who are making the show and need that income to survive? Should they be weighed?
If those people are like, it depends on what those people are saying.
There's people who are saying, and they're saying, hey, I'm watching the show and I really think you guys need to knock this out. We're the audience.
Hold on, Manny, you're making too much goddamn noise.
Sorry. Just not muting. Can I jump in on this?
Yeah, so fucking anybody could jump in who's in the call.
Yeah, I just didn't want to.
You have something to say about what we're talking about, Manny? You've met Vito before, right? You guys know each other.
Yeah, Vito, I understand your concerns with Riley's phone call. I respect your boundaries of your house.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I don't appreciate the way that you've handled this argument at all. Why is that of your show? Well, one of the things that I appreciate about your comedy, the show in general, is that it's original thoughts, and an original presentation of the thoughts. But it seems like right now you're relying on the group consensus to A, make your decisions, and B, prove that you're right about your decisions.
Well, if we're talking about the show, I don't want my house to be part of the show. So if we're talking about what's best for the show, what's best for the show,
the only
is
reason the house would become a part of the show is that you won't shut up about that, which is
Riley. No. Hold on. I've been told by Dick that Riley is part of the show. Riley's in the show Discord talking about my house.
Yeah,
that
he's
means
talking about
my house is now part of the show.
No one's going to show up at your house, though.
I don't care if they show up. I don't want my house to be part of the show.
Vito,
I don't care if it's making
you don't want the mention of the concept of your house to be part of the show. Like, where the fuck do you live? A temporal void. You film in your house. Like,
I don't want the idea. Okay. Oh, sure. My house. The idea that I live in a house is part of the show. The idea that breaking into my house is funny is not part of the show.
Vito, do you understand that it appears from the outside that you're using this as an excuse to blame your entire torpedoing of the biggest problem in the universe on Riley and Mint when you were already banning long-paying customers?
Well, okay, hold on. Before the show started, we were about to do a show, and there was a bunch of super chats that said, nobody super chat the show. So I banned a bunch of guys who said nobody super chat the show because I was
they can't control anyone else. You cannot assume that could have inspired a bunch of people to super chat. Yeah, but
wasn't there a lot of Discord bans and other bans going on?
No, there was two Discord bans, and it was the same guy twice.
Whatever reason they were saying, people saying don't super chat the show.
There's a lot of people who are trying to say there was hundreds of bans or whatever before we did a live show.
That's a lie. Dick, you could jump in here too if you want to. I'm not very good at actually keeping track of the shit that's been said.
Dick won't talk to me
unless you're on a cold ban from talking to him. A $50 super chat about a guy's personal weight loss was banned, he says.
It just appears to me that you're using this Riley and Mint situation as, well, now if something does happen to the biggest problem, it's their fault, not mine anymore.
I think the whole show is fine. And yes, there was one super chat that got banned. I thought, honestly, that any super chats that got taken out of the chat were still in the back end, so I assumed I would still read it anyway. Again, I just figured the front end of the show. I'm like, I'll get all this shit out of here and I'll just read it when we get to it. But obviously, I was wrong. I didn't realize if you delete a super chat, it doesn't appear in the back end. I thought, of course, it would because you have to, refund those people.
I mean, there's. YouTube's not that helpful. I mean, I sorry, you made me flash back to the fact that
I don't know what happens when you stream. Now I know. Now I know what happens if you delete a super chat. It disappears out of the back end as well. I figured it would just be in the history.
So
Dick said he's too tired to come on.
If you could go back, would you do that again?
If I knew that they would not be in the back end and I wouldn't be able to read them later, no. I assumed I would just read them. I didn't want the front of the show to be jam-packed with no super chats, because it was clearly trying to troll me. I assumed we would just get to it at the end, and it would have been a bit where I would have went, well, a lot of people tried to super chat, no super chats, but I put a stop to that.
Why are you just now offering this explanation that could... Because this sounds like a very clumsy, almost understandable fuck-up. But you have never used this defense yet so far.
The thing about doing a live podcast is you get put on the spot and people are like, why the fuck are you banning things? And you just go, again, as I said during the show, I said, it's a joke. Anyone who's been banned is going to get unbanned. But in the moment, yes.
Do you understand
I
what
think
it feels like to get banned? Like, have you been banned?
Sure, it sucks, and that's why it's funny though. It's when you're
it's
trying
not
to be
funny to the person who got banned.
You're being shitty. Okay, but let's be clear. You said no super chats, so you're trying to be shitty to the show. You're trying to be shitty and get people to not donate money. And you go, I'm banning you back.
People can donate and say, hey, I'm going to make his super chats and say, fuck that guy who said no super chats. People get in argument via super chats all the time. It's a bit if you let it develop.
It feels like you don't understand the concept of vengeance. That, like, like an eye for an eye and everyone's blind. Like
no, I understand it. I just think that people on the internet are crazy if they think I donate $2 to say no super chats, and a guy temporarily banned me to unban me later.
It also feels like
he didn't know you were.
There's not a guarantee you're gonna unban him.
There's not a guarantee he's gonna unban me. Sure. So he thinks he's banned forever, and he starts freaking out, and then at the end of the show, he gets unbanned. And so for 2-3 hours, he has to deal with the idea that he got banned because he fucked with the host a little bit.
Yeah, but you don't know what he might have done. He could have told fucking 700 people about that in that 2 hours. He could have fucking ran around like what's his name?
Thought,
the British are coming guy.
Well, again, I thought it was going to be funny when we got to the super chats, and I said, "Here's a bunch of super chats that said no super chats that none of you saw." I thought that would be a funny bit, and then I would unban everybody. But
because
obviously
you
now
thought they were still in the back end.
Yeah, but obviously now I realize I'm an idiot. So I'm sorry.
So hang on. I'd like to add a weird.
Sometimes we do like very spontaneous, retarded shit, and I tried to fuck around with YouTube, and I didn't understand how it works, and I fucked it up.
So Trixie, I've been on your streams as definitely not like a host or anything, and I've banned people.
Yeah.
Specifically, I've banned one person that just recommended the worst thing ever.
We have banned super chatters, and we have done it with impunity and in a way that we were very clear about why.
But it's not something you do anymore.
I would still, in the if it was circumstances like with that guy, where
I think it could be a learning experience. Like, yeah, I learned, hey, that was a shitty thing to do. I mean, again, we've done 160.
Well, I'm not even so sorry,
but
Vito,
I'm just
to
saying,
interrupt
like,
you. I'm just saying, it's not even a thing of. It's not. I mean, learning from Trixie talking now, it's not even a thing we won't do anymore. But I definitely did it, being a little drunk and being like, "Well, this video fucking sucks." Because I don't know if you. I mean, actually, I do know. You haven't watched Trixie's content. And a lot of what she's been doing lately is video recommendation live streams. And there was this one person, God, I don't even remember their name.
Necromancer. He paid me $50 to watch a video that he did not admit was his own video, and we found it out afterwards. And it just really sucked, and it was making everybody mad. Everybody on stream hated it. Bird hated it. And Bird expressing that he hated it caused this guy to start like getting really defensive and saying like you're watching it wrong. And
which I will say, banning them for that shit was wrong. I didn't ban them for that though. I banned them because you had expressed a higher rate for showing your own YouTube videos. Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah. And I didn't even mind that aspect necessarily. It was to me more the
but I care about money.
Sure. Well, I'm trying to explain that I care about money, and I'm still willing to ban somebody if they fuck with, like, if I set a boundary clearly and then you cross that boundary. This is okay. I have to be very clear about this. I agree with Vito saying that he needs boundaries that he's going to set, and he needs people not to cross those boundaries.
Yeah, but a boundary for anyone being on the internet should necessarily be
that wasn't
don't come
the
to my
end of
house.
what I was going to say. It just wasn't the rest
know.
of my statement. You totally diverted what I was going to say away from what it was. Now I have to remember it. God damn it. I'm sorry. Somebody else speak.
I'm gonna have to go if we can't get to. Hey, Trixie Queen, address two things.
You can't get to anything. You are impossible to fucking speak to. No, you can't go. Hold on, Vito. You're not. You'll never get anywhere with anyone, Vito. You can't get anywhere.
Forever. Can I ask you two questions?
What are you hoping to accomplish by being here? What did you call in to make happen?
Well, I thought I'd find out.
You could make happen.
I thought I was going to find out what you're upset about, but I'm like just sitting here.
I've been trying to explain it to you for a fucking hour, and you don't listen.
Vito,
Wait, what am I not listening to?
Do you comprehend what my problem is?
Not at all.
So, even though I've been explaining it, you have not an inkling.
What?
Nothing I said in the last hour connected.
Manny, can you explain what Trixie's problem is with me? Do you understand it?
I can explain my problem with you, which
Okay,
will
so you
be
can't explain
very
Trixie's
simple.
problem. Sir
Why
Shit
would he
Shitter,
be
do
able
you...
to explain
Manny
my problem?
just got here.
Okay, so
Manny
Bird, can you
literally showed
explain
up
what
5
Trixie's
minutes
problem
ago.
is with me?
No, don't live in Trixie's mind. She's been explaining it to you for an hour.
I also don't live in Trixie's
think-
Yeah,
mind.
but we've been talking.
No.
Nobody else was here until just now.
I think my explanation would be helpful for everyone.
Yes, please, Manny, tell us what your problem with Vito is. Because it sounded like you did agree with me when you came in and basically said the same thing I was saying. But go for it.
Yeah, okay. Vito. So to me, it seems like this is just a wild guess and assumption. To me, it seems like you're losing control of your personal life and you're taking control of what you can, which is your audience.
Hey, Ben, you pigly little bitch, shut the fuck up and kill yourself already. I hate you. Fuck off. Die. That gibberish enough for you? Shut the fuck up. You're not wanted here. Nobody likes you. Cry home. Jesus. Gary always with $5. I would have bet money on this conversation going exactly this way. I wish you knew you were streaming, or I'd have saved my super chat dollar for this. I announced it. Koof with $2 says thank you for not killing yourselves. My problem with Vito is that he's a team guy. I've been explaining this for an hour. He's just team guy Vito.
I can explain the team guy thing.
You
let's
can. It
use the
doesn't matter. He
appropriate
won't get it.
phrasing. Community guy.
I can explain
Community
the
guy.
community guy thing.
Go for that.
Okay, Vito, to me, it seems like you're using consensus to prove your point instead of your own mind, your own opinion, independent thought. It seems like the fact that Reddit agrees with you, the fact that people privately agree in your DMs agree with you, you're using that to say, I am right, I have control, I am powerful. It's like you already know that the tyranny of the masses is a thing. You know that it can be a bad thing, and then we're explaining that you're wielding that as your power, but you.
What am I right about? What do I believe I'm right about?
Riley.
Everything. You believe you are right about. I don't want to make this about one specific thing because he keeps asking for examples, but the example is everything. It's that you apply this pattern of behavior in all interactions.
No.
All of them.
You being valuable to the show.
Hold on. So the accusation is I use Reddit comments and audience comments to justify the thing. Obviously, I don't use.
The accusation is that you're not using your own thoughts and your own words. You're using other people's.
But obviously, I can't use the audience in all aspects of my life. There obviously most things I believe that I don't use an audience participation metric.
Yeah, but the things that
so what are you specifically referring to? You're referring to the Riley situation.
Yes.
You use things like statistics, or you use things like what is the public opinion that I can.
I got a stats for you.
Or even just the fact that people are saying, "Hey, you're fat and not funny," and you're like, "Okay, well, let me disagree with that with numbers from the show."
Well, funny is a subjective metric.
It is. I can
at the end of the day say I've made money doing comedy, and as far as figuring out if I'm funny, all I can say is I've made a lot of people laugh, and that's
you are funny.
Vito, you're fucking hilarious.
Let's all get this one thing straight.
Vito is funny, even doing this crazy death spiral he's going through.
Well, I'm going to tell you guys this. I don't think I'm that funny.
You're wrong.
You're very funny,
sorry.
but you're going to be the butt of the joke if you react to these situations like you have been the past 2 weeks.
Oh, fucking! I love you, seat sitter.
So I'm going to be the butt of the joke, and the joke is what?
The joke is that you keep
there's multiple
jokes. Don't get the joke, even though you're supposed to be in on it. Like even though you've been
no, hold on. You can't don't use a circular
joke.
definition. Don't use a circular definition. The joke is not the. What
how
is
about,
the joke?
How about this joke?
The joke is I'm not that you are so easy to fuck with.
How about this joke?
Yeah,
Vito's fat.
That's it.
Okay, so the joke isn't very easy to fuck with, and because I'll respond, right?
And the more you respond the way you have been, the more you're going to get fucked with. I think that's what Dick's been trying to tell you for a while.
It's the whole problem of feeding the trolls, but you are the troll and you are being fed and you are responding with it. I don't think you are necessarily a troll, but you are reacting the way a troll would being fed.
So I tell you guys, I have a hard boundary. I can't have people joke about committing.
That is not what I'm talking about.
Well, no, I'm asking. Is that me responding in a way that now I'm going to get beat up? I can't establish boundaries.
I mean, it's not about not being able to establish boundaries. It's
Do
about
you-
how you
sorry,
approach doing it. You did
God
it
damn
with
it.
threats.
Do you
It
think
wasn't just
Riley
like,
is going to beat you up?
No.
Hey,
Then what is the point of any of what you're doing?
I don't want people to make jokes about beating me up. That's a
Don't-
boundary.
You should.
You don't want
You should-
people to make jokes about beating you up.
he's worried that
Not as part of my show.
don't
But
talk to my
it's all okay. I guess maybe not beating you up has always been a part of the show, but making fun of how you are a fat piece of shit who
Sure. Yeah. you can do
sure
that.
sure.
I
So
think
you
it's
could-
gone way over the line.
But
I think
you
once it
started
gets
banning
to
people over
Where
the fat
so
comments,
hang
not
on
over
though.
the-
My question,
threats.
where did it go over the line with the show's comments?
That's a great question. Yeah, when did it stop?
When did it stop going from
Being-
"Oh, you're a fat piece of shit" to "This is over the line"? What comment was it that made it go over the line?
I never said it went over the
curious.
line on the show.
But you were banning people for it.
There came a
I was
point where
banning
you
people
said,
for what I've said was this is becoming boring and tiresome, and I think it's
Right.
derailing the show.
What
But
made
that
it
wasn't
bo-
because it's over a personal
It wasn't
line.
boring or tiresome or derailing the show because the super chat section happens after the show.
Right, but
Again,
I ended up
hold on,
not
I-
enjoying that section.
I want to address this. This is about how you use the social power. Dick feels the same way you do about a lot of things. He has expressed many times when there's a repetitive gag on his show. I do recommend, Vito. I feel like you haven't listened to a lot of like the actual The Dick Show, and you really should, especially the old stuff, because he did establish a lot of boundaries with his audience. It's just that the show's been going a long time, and most of
But
us
he established
understand those boundaries now.
for him.
Sure, and I'm just saying you can.
You have to establish the
make it
boundaries
out
for
like he
yourself in
hasn't.
a way that you're not doing now.
And
I really
I
want to
don't know how to
okay,
explain it
so
further than that.
I'm desperately trying to establish boundaries.
What you
That's
have to do
I'm
is
kind
listen
of the
to-
problem.
You don't listen
But-
to
but
Dick when
you're
he tells you how, though. Like he
Dick
told
has never.
you.
When did he tell me how to establish boundaries? What do you mean?
Multiple times throughout the last Dick Show.
No, he's told me just ignore it.
Yes,
Yeah,
that is
yeah.
sorry. That is the
That's
answer.
a part of
That's
establishing
not
boundaries.
establishing a boundary for me because it's going to continue.
You've established. Sorry, Vito. You've
Dude,
established.
you only had
the
to say the
boundary.
private property thing once, twice, 3 times tops.
But he said
And
it fucking 75 times.
700 times in that one show. And
Okay,
and
let's
when
put it
you
this way.
when you can
If
say, "Hey, don't come on my property," while also being like, "Ha ha, jokey joke." When you say, "Oh, please God, no," that's just going to make everything worse. I'm not saying it's right that it makes everything worse, but it's going to make everything
But it is
worse.
going
God,
to.
no. Okay. I need to establish boundaries.
You have. You have
No,
done that.
well, I haven't,
Please
but
don't
I don't-
reestablish your boundaries here on this show.
Well, there's a couple
The
that I
one
think
thing I don't want to hear from you is the boundaries you've established over and over and over again for the last fucking week. I'm sorry. I understand. Don't come on your private
really
property.
Getting repetitive.
Okay, but here's the question: if somebody breaks the boundaries that I've established, what should happen?
You should.
What boundaries? Which ones? In
Don't
what
joke about
context?
assaulting me.
You should stop.
Well,
talking
no,
about
that's
it.
sorry. You can
different.
joke about anything you want. It's a joke.
Look,
Don't joke about destroying my property.
You can joke about Vito. I've joked about destroying your property 3 times in the last 24 hours.
Don't joke about slamming my head into a concrete block. How about that?
So that's what it is, right? That's the thing that's bothering you.
Those are boundaries for me. Yes. that I
But
wanna
no,
establish.
no. I don't care about all
I-
the other things that we just proved wrong. It's the slamming your head into concrete that's bothering you,
Okay, here's the
right?
part here's the part that's driving me nuts. All right, if Riley and Mint have crossed a boundary with you, why do you keep talking to them?
Yeah, actually, that is an incredible
Like,
question.
what do you do to someone who has crossed your boundaries? You stop talking to them. That's what I would do.
Well, so Mint, sorry,
if I establish
I'm
a
airing out
boundary and
DMs
somebody
here.
crosses that, I stop talking to them. Like that's
I'm airing, and that is where I'm going. But I'm airing out DMs here. Mint said, like, why don't you just get a restraining order on us and stop talking to us? And then instead of just stop talking to them, you went, well, why should I get a restraining order on you? What should I do instead of that? Instead of just getting the restraining order you've been talking about since the Dick Show.
So I'm out here and I have multiple people streaming about me. I have people posting things about me, a lot of which are lies. I have
And
people.
look, I have no comment
quick,
on the
I come buckets
truthfulness.
for $2 joke.
Oh,
not
fuck.
con- Who's there? Vito getting beat up.
Anyway, I have no comment on the
Does
truthfulness or any of that.
Does that joke cross your boundary, Vito, in this sense?
Knock knock. Who's there? Vito getting beat up. Is that funny, Vito? Is that offensive to you? Are you going to get a restraining order on that guy?
Okay.
Of course, it's not funny to you. But anyway,
Do you recognize it as a joke? Funny or
do you
not?
recognize it as a joke? That's a good question.
I recognize it
fucking
as a
comedian
joke in a vacuum, and then here's what I worry about. I worry about it becomes a running joke. It becomes, oh, well, Vito won't establish a boundary about this. So the next joke is, hey, let's stab Vito with knives. The next joke is, let's hit him with a hammer. The next joke is, let's go to his... Like, here's the thing about boundaries is you establish them because if you don't go right up front, go, guys, this makes me uncomfortable. I don't want to go down this road. It continues to escalate and escalate and escalate. And the next thing you know,
then Frank Castle shows up to your house and you fire a warning shot over him.
Well,
I disagree.
You don't think
I
this
think
ever...
if you would take it less seriously, it wouldn't keep getting escalated.
Yeah.
It wouldn't keep
Okay,
escalating.
That is absolutely true.
Let's give an example. Go watch old episodes of Biggest Problem in the Universe where, like, you know, I made it very clear. I'm like, yeah, you can goof on me. You can call me fat. It's fine. And then it escalates and it escalates. And it gets to the point where, like, now half the show is like,
what do you think happens when you ignore it? I don't understand why you won't take.
When you ignore it, it escalates.
No,
People
that's
think it's
no,
okay.
no. When you, sorry, Vito,
you see
when
how
you
it's
do what you
escalating
have
now?
been doing,
Yeah.
it escalates.
I don't think it's I don't think it is escalating. I'm not getting threats on
You're
my
wrong.
property.
You are wrong.
I'm not. I have not gotten any threats on my property.
I have
since
seen
this started.
personally more threats on your property from random Twitter users than I've ever seen before.
I haven't. I've been getting all sorts
I
of
said
DMs.
I was gonna shrink myself, go into your shit pipes.
I said I was under your bed burning up your magic
those
cards.
are not like those do not sound real. Like, again,
Are you sure?
If you made a joke that says I'm going to shrink up and
How
destroy your
real
magic
is
cards,
real to you though? Like, why?
We
is
had
it
a
that
guy. in
Why
the
is it
group
real for
DM
Riley to do it,
recording
but
messages
not
of
us?
recording audio of himself kidnapping your cats or rescuing them?
well, that's really not
Rescuing, absolutely rescuing.
Please don't talk about fucking kidnapping my cats. That makes me not happy.
Hey,
Sorry,
see that? Wait.
I'm
That is
sorry.
a great way to respond.
I mean,
to a joke
I think
that
what
you
it
don't
comes
like.
down to-
Please don't do that. But if you say, "Hey, you just made a joke I don't like. I'm gonna go call the cops, get you arrested, ruin your life, and you better do what I say, or else your life will be ruined because I know that you're in trouble."
Specifically, the sentence
That's not
"I'm
a
going
fair
to save your
response. Like,
fucking life" was the one that was like,
well, I'm telling you to stay
yeah,
off my property or I call the cops. What is wrong with saying that?
that's fine to say.
Okay, well, that's all I'm saying. Stay off my property or I call the cops. That's all.
Yeah,
I'm
but
saying.
you,
but you said, but that's not what you said.
Okay, guys, let's be real. A guy calls me up screaming at me. Him and his
It's not
girlfriend
just
are.
a guy though. It's Riley.
it's Riley. You know Riley. I'm
Riley.
sorry.
No, Riley, stop saying that. Why
do you think you don't know him? Like,
Because
what
I've hung
makes you
out
think
with
that
him twice.
But also,
You've hung out with Riley more than me, and we've hung out at least 5 fucking times.
And if you, Bird, if you called me up, Bird, if you called me up screaming,
spoken to Riley for hundreds of hours in group chats, like
this idea that I know Riley and I'm like deep friends with Riley, I don't. It's not.
It's
whatever
not about
you
how
guys
deep
judge
the friendship
friendship
is.
as.
It's not about
me.
the.
No, it's not a
about
friendship
the depth
thing.
of the friendship. It's about like the
Last
joke
book you
that
viewed
we've
well
all
enough
been participating in. Like, you have to not get it to be like this thing that you've been laughing at Riley doing to Eric July. You're now like incurring upon yourself by way of acting like
reacting the way Eric July fucking would.
Yeah.
If Riley wants to do stuff on public property, I don't care.
It's like
he can come stand on the street and do whatever he wants.
I come buckets at $2 says joke. Let's go to Vito's house and pet his cats hard.
Oh, actually, so I'm sorry. This is a unserious in terms of what conversation we've been having, and I'm sorry, Vito, if you feel uncomfortable answering this question. Your cats. We met Scraps on the Frog Tony live stream. How many cats do you have? What are their names? What's their deal?
I have 2 cats. I have Scraps and Mud. They're both.
Is Mud the long-haired one?
Brother and sister. One is Siamese and one is the striped one, Scraps.
And Scraps is the one that's eating too much.
No, neither of them are eating too much. Mud's the one who's not drinking enough water.
Okay. How old are they?
About 8 years.
Rock and roll. Sorry, I like animals. I was just curious.
I also very much like animals. I mean, that's another thing is like, you know, guys, like like there's a lot of stuff that, you know, I'm not going to get into it, but like when my cat went missing, I was devastated. I cried.
No, and that's that is completely normal in my opinion.
And then people do a bit on the show, and the bit is Vito's cat's never coming back. And I'm the kind of guy
because Vito molested them, right? Because that's the joke.
Whatever it is, I have thick skin, and I can go, I get that's a joke. I get where it's coming from. You know, it's not actually talking about my cat.
Did the cat come back?
No. And it's
okay. So you have 3 cats.
Drives me nuts.
I think you need to be, if there are things that you are sensitive about in this way, you need to be a lot more careful about bringing like personal things about yourself into the show that gives people the opportunity to make fun of you for them.
No, but
that is absolutely fucking fair, though. Here's the thing. Hang on. Before, I'm sorry, Vito. I want to hear what you're saying, but I do need to interrupt. I have a very carefully curated online experience because I work a pretty goddamn regular job. I don't want fucking weirdos that follow Trixie knowing who I am. And saying that is probably going to fuck with me on a weird level.
No, you don't have to see. The more you elaborate, so this is you're doing the same thing. It's like
I'm trying to give an example,
and that was already bad, and then you realized that was bad, and then you made it worse by pointing out that it was bad.
Yes,
that's the problem.
Yes.
Now everybody recognized that and went, "Oh shit! Now we have to talk about something else to make sure we don't make that worse." And so. We move on. The real issue here, Vito, you said that you shouldn't have to watch anybody's content who you work with. And it's not a matter of what you should have to do. It's startling to me that you don't want to, that it's not like...
But you're saying I work with you, Trixie?
Not really anymore. We used to work together when you did the Monday Night Grift. And, in a weird way,
I've seen you on streams, and I've probably seen one of your videos way back when it was like anime shit. I can't remember what I've fucking watched, but obviously at some point I said Trixie's kind of interesting.
So here's what it is. Do you watch any content from people that you work with? Like, do you ever work with people because you like their content, or is it more of just like that they like you, so you work with them? Because that's what it seems like.
I've watched some of Hack the Movies content, and that's, I mean,
you don't seem to like it at all.
Hack the Movies is, I'm sorry,
I love Hack
the Movies content.
Yeah.
Subscribe to Tony from Hack the Movies. He is my favorite Italian, my favorite not fat anymore Italian. Unlike some people.
When I work with people, it's not because they like me. Let's be very clear.
Okay, so what is it in particular?
It has to be somebody who's a good. I mean, if you're talking about the live shows, it's somebody who can talk.
Okay, so you're looking for people who you do think will make a good show with you.
Yeah, honestly, there's people who've been on the show who are like big fans of mine, and at the end of the day, I get off the show and I go, well, I'm, you know, whatever. These are old streams. I don't know exactly what I'm talking about, but there've been people who I go, well, they're not a great broadcaster.
Can I be a cunt? Who
even though they love me, I can feel guilty because I'm like, oh, that guy really likes me, but you know, he's, at the end of the day, he's not a great broadcaster, so I don't know how much I can use him.
Who liked you that was on The Biggest Problem in the Universe that you brought on as guests? And I'm just genuinely curious.
Eric Escobar? I don't know.
I don't remember that guy.
It's been 3 years of a show, so that's entirely fair.
We don't do a lot of guests.
So for me personally, like I typically, if somebody wants to work with me, the first thing I do is like look into what they do and try to figure out if I think that I'm going to be like, you know, have chemistry with them or like want to talk about their shit and stuff like that. And if I get excited about it, then it's like, oh man, you're excited about my stuff. I'm excited about your stuff. We got to make stuff together and we're all going to promote each other's stuff because we like each other's stuff, you know? And like, I feel like if you had a better understanding of what everyone around you was doing, it wouldn't just be that you would be able to like promote them better or whatever. They would also be more excited about you in turn. It's like the more you put into the relationship, the more everybody kind of feeds into it and feels like, oh yeah, we're all like benefiting from this. And with you, it kind of feels like you retreat into your own world, and that's fine. I do the same thing. I'm pretty bad about this, actually. It's why there's not a lot of comments on comments shows. But like,
this is only number 5.
It's only weird because you go off like that, but then you're also like on Twitter all day, and it's very public, and it ends up like you're thinking of it like this isn't a part of the show, but it ends up inevitably being a part of the show because the same people are looking at it, you know, and like the same people are reacting to it, and those people want to.
Well, you see, Mint, part of the show, part of the show is that we react to stuff that's happening on the internet, and so naturally, I'm going to bring it up.
Right,
Sorry.
exactly.
But
that you're doing a Vito impression, I think.
I would have done better if I was more drunk, to be honest. But
how do you feel about this, Vito? What I've said just now? If
I don't want to be on YouTube. I don't want to make YouTube videos. I don't want to do.
Is it just comics that you want to do?
Yes, 100%.
So, do you not
just
like doing the biggest problem show, or do you just not like doing?
I like doing biggest problem. So, biggest problem is a great job. It's not my creative passion, but it's a really fun. I mean, I don't know what I'm saying. I really like doing.
Sorry,
it is. You're settling into a routine. It's not like
it's a thing you do.
It's a thing you do, I guess.
So what? I know it's a thing you do, but what do you get out of doing the biggest problem? Like at this point, genuinely, as someone who really like, sorry, and I'm not consistently listening, but I have listened to a lot of it, and I've really listened in the past 5 weeks or so. What are you getting out of it that you?
I think it's a fun show, and honestly, what I'm hoping to get out of it is I'm hoping to get, I like when the audience is happy and supportive.
I need to read a few comments real quick. I Come Buckets with $2 says, joke.
What is this show? Commenting on comments or something?
Let's put the fear of God in Vito and his cats. We've got
No. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry. The cats are innocent. Leave them alone.
Protect the cats. Koof with $5. You don't know, those cats might be assholes. Koof with
$5. Leave the
says,
cats alone.
You bear responsibility in cultivating your audience. If you're fearful of Riley copycats, you should reflect upon what actions of yours led you here.
I think the action that led me here is not setting boundaries. I think it is because I'm fearful of Riley copycats that I have to do that now.
Johnny Rocks to $5 says Vito is talking to Riley in the Discord right now. So that long period where he
Vito, are you talking to Riley in the Discord right now?
I'm not talking to Riley. I said one thing to Riley because he's lying.
What did you say, and what did he say?
He's saying, Vito.
No. Just read me the chat.
This is how he posted it. This is in his voice. He said, duh. I didn't call Vito. Vito called me. Duh. And
You're not even shouting. He would read it like this,
that
Vito.
Is true. So I'm in the garage.
You know that him shouting is not indicative of any kind of anger. He would shout every single word of every single goddamn thing he typed on every single message on every single board that he typed it on, Vito.
We have
That's a good Riley.
And a door.
Thank you, sir, seat sitter.
I'm doing his inner voice.
No, that's not what Riley's inner voice sounds like.
Anyway, so I mean, you're saying I should do more to be part of this community, and is that what you're saying?
It's not about this community so much as like, I just think that
the community you choose to be a part of
yourself like you are above doing that, or like it wouldn't like why would you? Like there's not a benefit to it. And to me, that kind of mentality is like, it's like, yeah, but I don't know. For me, the whole fun of it is getting to do things with other people. Like the fun of being in this internet space is that like I get to work with other cool creators and meet them and like hang out and like have these interesting connections and friendships and like cool products come out of it. And, like, so I'm
being told that to be a part of this community, I have to let Riley be in the Discord talking a lot of shit. And this is not the first time he's talked shit. He's been in there for a long time telling everybody Vito's lazy, his projects suck.
Vito, have I not been talking shit about you for a year and a half?
Why am I lazy?
I
Because you
almost said
are.
the N-word. I'm sorry. This happens every stream. Somebody says something that like puts the N-word all
But
the
here's
way to the
thing.
tip of my tongue.
You
and I
guys don't
suck it back
see.
in.
You guys don't see what I'm doing. You only see like output. So like, if you're gonna talk about the comic project, do you think like all this stuff, like, and you can say all that stuff's retarded, I don't care. Okay, but I still sold it and I gotta make it. Do you think things like lunch boxes and pins and fucking art books, do you think that all just like springs into existence, or do you think I'm in front of the computer designing that shit every day?
No. Do you think we're retarded?
But then I'm saying, like, the laziness comes from, well, the comic's not out. And I
Correct.
go, okay, but look at all this other shit. I'm like, I can't show you the back end.
Laziness. No,
so
the laziness
in terms of
accusations come from people seeing you on Twitter all day. It comes from people seeing what you're doing and going, "That's not work. That's not."
Well,
you
right
doing
now,
something
I
that's
feel like,
relevant to us.
again, I've got 1 million people talking about me. A lot of people are lying about me.
You maybe have 10,000 people talking.
Trixie last night said I have a debilitating gambling addiction, and I still have no idea what that means.
You play the stock market constantly. That's gambling.
The stock market is gambling. Not gambling, Trixie.
It is gambling.
Literally gambling.
Trixie,
it's not
What do you think is playing the stock market? Buying stocks?
Buying like buying stocks.
Oh, Vito's about to out adult you.
No,
I'm not out adulting. Playing the stocks would be if I'm like, oh, and I bought 100 and then I got 200 and I sold 3. I buy a stock and I watch it go up.
You don't know it's going to go up. It is inherently,
or it goes down. Sure.
I'm going to tell you this, and this is like a little too big mind for me to try to probably explain to you, but like owning property at all is gambling. Like all sense of ownership is a gamble. You're gambling on this isn't going to like burn down. You're gambling on like the value of this is not going to suddenly plummet for reasons I cannot predict, or like the dollar's not just going to crash. Like any money you haven't spent is money you cannot count on existing tomorrow. That's why you should do like me and spend all your money as soon as you make it. That's the best way to live your life. Everybody. I'm telling you.
That's kind of like saying getting in the car to drive to work every day is gambling, though.
It is terrifying.
It is.
Every time somebody leaves my site, I literally think like that might be the last time I ever see them.
Here's the problem: is
they might die.
If I don't do anything and I don't say anything, all of this gets away from me, and the narrative becomes Vito's trying to get people arrested, which is not true. I don't want.
Well, but the narrative is already.
I don't even want to talk to cops. No. It hasn't reached that point. Part of the reason it hasn't reached that point.
No, but it has.
Who's saying Vito's trying to get people arrested?
Many
Vito's
people.
saying that.
No, I'm not. I'm saying
Vito's kind of saying that.
You said you were going to send the fucking phone calls.
You said you
previous court case.
Hypothetically,
and I know you're saying
hypothetically.
You keep saying a guy yelled at me. Like, do you understand how pathetic that sounds?
You're right. A guy and his crazy fucking autistic girlfriend were screeching at me.
Flip that. I'm sorry. Flip that. Reverse it.
I got to keep these 2 screeching lunatics away from my house. Maybe if I tell them I'm going to call the cops, they'll fucking leave me alone.
And so I'm going to invite them to dinner?
Well, now I'm trying to just smooth it over. Now I'm trying to figure out something because they're on the fucking warpath.
The hat is over the fence, Vito. I'm sorry. It's just such a fun thing to say out loud.
She's tired of me talking about it. And it's like, oh my God, I can't believe you stopped talking about it. I'm like, okay, well. And then she said, if you promise to stop talking about it, we'll go to dinner. I'm like, that's great. Let's do it. I won't talk about it till Friday. And then Dick tweeted, hey, I hope the show doesn't end. And I tweeted back, yeah, I also hope the show doesn't end. And Mint said, that's talking about me. Everything's off and I'm coming to your house, whatever else again. And I'm like, okay, well, I don't see how that's talking about you, Mint.
Vito, I agree with you that was not about Mint unless you were trying to be really sneaky, in which case it was so sneaky that it wasn't about Mint anyway.
It would have been a really stupid way to be sneaky to talk about Mint. I genuinely was just like, yeah, I do also hope the show doesn't end. And now, instead of getting dinner on Friday, which I was looking forward to because I love dinner, Now instead, Riley and Mentor are gonna show up.
I'm sorry.
And I'm not
Now-
gonna have dinner.
Now the hat is way over the fence again.
I am pretty funny.
Goof,
I'm
Goof
gonna
is
start saying the
$2.
hat is
No,
over
the
fence
second
all the time
hat.
now.
I'm sorry. It's the second hat.
Yeah, the
is
other
over the
hat.
fence.
That's-
I'm
It's
not
not-
wrong. Nobody was
President,
okay.
a second hat has gone over the fence.
The hat over the fence is not a saying, right? We've all agreed
It
on
is
that.
a real
It is
thing.
absolutely
now.
a saying.
It has
no.
become one.
It's
No,
not.
it's like
Riley
it's like a
didn't
cowboy
invent
thing.
the hat is over the fence.
Yeah.
Who has said the hat is over the fence?
It's
am
an old
Googling
cowboy
it.
slang thing. It's like
Bro, if you Google it, the first result is Dick Masterson. No one
No,
has
look,
ever said the hat.
think
It
about
has
it.
9 results. There are
there's-
9 results on
it's-
Google for
it's
the
probably
hat
a slightly
is over
different
the
phrasing.
fence.
When I searched for it, it immediately the result I got was like, yeah, it's when you've already thrown your hat over the fence, meaning you intend to climb it. Like that's the
No,
idiot.
your hat is in the. What the fuck are you talking about?
It's an announcement of your intent to climb over a fence because you've already tossed your hat over it. So therefore, you intend to climb that fence. That's what the saying means. That came up for me.
So Riley was saying his hat was already over the fence and there's no going back now. Is that what you're saying?
I understand now
that is
that
the
like
joke.
you can reverse engineer it to be a saying, but it
That's just
wasn't
what
a
came up
saying
when I fucking
before.
Googled it. I
Go
literally
Google it
Googled
right
it
now
that
and
came up.
find any page
on.
that says.
I bet Riley made that website.
Okay, I found
that definition.
throw one's hat over the fence.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's
Hang
throw
on,
one's
guys.
hat
Are you
over the
telling me that
wall.
individual people's Google searches are different from each other?
Throw one's
That
hat
can't
over
be
the
right.
fence. Verb, third person singular, simple present. Throw one's hat over the fence.
In order to accomplish what you want, you must throw the hat over the fence.
To commit fully.
But that's
To
not the
go
way
for
he's
broke
using
is
it
another
all.
way of using it.
Throw your hat over the wall from 2015 and new saying. So it's a
No,
new
but that
saying.
means he is going to accomplish what he wants because the hat is over the fence. He's definitely going to do it.
All right, real quick. I have to read these fucking super chats. Coop with $2
Oh
says,
God.
how do you choose what stocks to buy? And also, Icon Bucks at $2 says, joke Vito's address is public and enjoys visitors.
Just buy Palantir, but it might be too late. But it's not too late because it's going to $1,000 a share.
Oh really?
Yeah, buy Palantir. It's basically if I told you you could buy Skynet, would you buy
Vito,
Skynet?
can I get a refund on that stock tip?
Dick Masterson says, Vito literally won't listen to
Well,
any-
Dick, I've tried to contact you and talk about this, and you refuse. So if you have advice for me,
I'm-
that would be
I
awesome.
don't,
sorry,
it's hard for me to
Vito-
blame him because you're like a brick goddamn
Dick is
wall.
smart
Like,
for not wanting to talk to you about this. He's not going to take a phone call from you.
All I need is to talk to him real quick and just hammer a couple things out. But I guess that's not happening.
I feel like you go into conversations with like a sense of like how do I get out of this as opposed to like what can I learn? Like what can I learn from this conversation? And that makes it frustrating because it feels like you're working against being told things. You know? It feels like someone
It feels
says
like you're
something
working
and then
against your
you
own
try
best
to
self-interest.
you try to figure out how they're wrong as opposed to how they're right. This is something that bothers me about a lot of communicating with a lot of people actually.
I think at the end of the day, I just have some brick wall waste of time. Well, what do you mean it's a waste of time? I have boundaries I want to set and I want to talk about it. And it's like, and it basically comes down to like, no, I can't have you do that, which is sad.
Okay. So
To me.
Riley's call to you was funny, but it was automatically much more funny when you
It's not
reacted
fun.
the way
It's
you
not
did.
funny to. Okay, here's the thing. It's not funny
And
to me.
continue to continue to do so.
It's not
Like,
funny.
the joke is becoming funnier because
It's
like,
fine
like
if it's
everybody's
funny to
saying
everyone else, and it's not funny. To me.
So
It
kind of
what
part
this,
of
what
what it
this,
is.
what this comes down to is it has to be funny to me for some reason.
What
It
continues
doesn't.
to be-
Was it funny
No, it
to
doesn't.
Eric July? Was
I guess
anything
not. I
Riley
don't
ever
know.
said to Eric July funny to him personally? The answer is absolutely unequivocally no. But you did
If Eric
find
July
it funny.
on his own show had a guy saying, "Hey, as part of the show, I want to do this, this, and this." I'm pretty
What
sure
are this,
July-
this, and this?
off the fucking show and never speak to him again or put him
Yes,
on.
that is
that's
true.
The whole
That's
war
the
with them.
conversation I would love to
Which
have,
is
I
dumb,
wanna
and
figure
it's
out
why
what we
you
can
shouldn't do it because it is what Eric July would do.
What do you expect?
Michael Linning
So
with
sorry,
490 hold
Vito.
on.
If you get everything you want, what do you expect Riley to be doing?
I expect Riley to go, "You're right, Vito. I'm not going to joke about fucking with your house."
Michael Winning with 499 says people usually wait until after the comic is out to focus on merch, not use it as an excuse as to why the comic. I think he meant to say isn't out. It says
All I
is
want
out
is
on.
for Riley to say, "You're right, Vito. I'm not going to fuck with your house," and he's not going to say it.
No response.
You know Riley.
Yeah, and that's why I can't be friends with him because he doesn't have enough respect to say that to me.
to say that he's not
lower the
going to fuck with
stakes.
your house.
Let's
All
lower
he
the
has,
stakes
I
on the
tried to
actually-
talk to him on the phone, and if he just said to me, "Hey Vito, I know you're taking,"
You
some
tried to
things
talk
taken
to
seriously.
Mint on the phone.
I wanted to
and-
apologize to Mint, and if Riley could just talk to me and call me up and say, "Hey Vito, it seems like you're really worried about me coming to your house, or you're worried about I'm going to do something. So let me just say to you, I'm not going to do that." Yeah, see. So this
No,
is,
he
this
wouldn't
is
do
what it
that.
is. Right,
Sorry,
I know he wouldn't
so-
do that. So we're not friends. That's it. We're
But
not
he
friends. We
wouldn't-
never will be.
So he's not friends just because he wouldn't tell you, "I'm not going to fuck with your house."
That's not a friend
like-
to me. A friend to me is somebody who would call me up and go, "Hey man, I'm just joking around."
He didn't call you up. So
Riley would
You're-
never call me. Riley would never call me up as a friend and say, "Hey man, I hear you.
I'm
you're
sorry.
concerned.
At
I
this
hear what
point,
you're worried
that
about."
is true. I don't
Vito.
think that was not true at some point.
I've
Or that
never-
You
I don't think there's ever been a chance that Riley would do that for me.
There is a very
Call
you,
you?
you were a comedian, correct?
This is a
Do you
private
understand
thing
how
for friends.
having to explain the joke ruins the joke?
if
and
it,
it's
so
deeply frustrating.
Wait, and
But
so
the-
you're saying that explaining the joke over and over again to a point that it doesn't make any sense and it's not funny would make it incredibly not funny and almost dissuasive
not-
to being
why do I
interested
care
in the
about-
show
I'm not
or
here to help my
content
friends make
associated
jokes.
with it.
I'm not here to help my friends make the best possible joke they can. If
You
you're my
should
friend-
be.
You are making
If
this
you're
the
my-
best possible joke ever because your reaction to it is now I think what Riley's doing is way more hilarious because of your reaction to it,
That's
not because of
fine.
what he's
That's
doing.
fine if everybody else thinks it's funny, but that means he's not my friend. Stop saying was ever my friend.
He was your friend.
He's a guy.
It
He's a
is
no,
actually
He's
true.
a guy who was trying to get a reaction out of me for content.
When? From what point was Riley just a guy trying to get a reaction out of you for content? Because I know
the
a
second you
point.
decided I slighted him and his channel.
When is that? Are you talking about the
Probably when
argument?
I posted
The
a
argument
screenshot-
you guys had
Hold on.
about how.
Hey, I want to refocus this real quick.
All right,
because
you're smart.
There's well, I was reminded of something that after Vito left the last show, Frog Tony and I, we continued discussing this, and there was something I meant to bring up to you, Vito, but I hadn't on the previous show. I had to put it on the
Ruh-roh, Raggy.
Yeah. What Vito missed is that Riley didn't say I'm going to commit property damage and theft. He said he said I'm going to commit crimes that won't be prosecuted in California. Get ready for property damage and theft. It's an obvious California bad joke. He lists in categories of crimes that California is notorious for letting people get away with to make fun of the state of California, like when Hassan Piker freaked out that Candyman threatened to wear his dresses. And that it was something that never really got addressed. You kept pointing out that he said a series of escalating crimes, but what he said, because the joke is, I'm going to set, it's a paradox. The reason it's funny.
The joke is I can do this to you and I won't get prosecuted for it.
Yes, which makes it not a crime. That makes it a paradox.
No, it's still
That's
a
what makes it
crime.
joke.
It's a
That's
crime
what
that
makes
won't
it
be
funny.
prosecuted. It's
A
still
crime that won't be
damn-
prosecuted. Is it a crime?
Okay, so you're saying you're going to rape me, but the cops aren't going to do anything about it. That's the joke.
Is that
That's
is that
not
an
what he
open
said.
It's
invitation?
always to rape.
Yeah,
Okay,
does
he's going
rape.
to damage my property, and the cops aren't going to do anything about it.
I
Here's
come
what I'm
up
going to say.
with $2.
If
Joke
any of
Vito's
you
house
guys,
with
if
blood
any of you
argument
guys are
defenses.
really, if any of you guys are really my friends, you should have my phone number. Okay, I'm not a happy guy right now. I'm not happy with the situation. You can say, Vito, it's all a joke. Nobody has called me up to say it's a joke. When I asked Riley, is this
your phone number?
when I asked Riley, is this?
I
a joke?
also don't have your phone number, and we just went through a really significant heart-to-heart. So I'm a little offended.
I have tried to talk to Riley, and I've said, and that's why on that call I said, are you serious? Is this what's actually going on? Whatever else. And he goes, yes, it's serious. 100%. I'm doing it. And everyone goes, well, that's a joke. That's a joke. You have to take it as a joke.
Did he
anybody-
say
if
the
anybody-
words, yes, it's serious, 100%?
Real quick.
All I've been dealing with is everyone who is supposedly my friend telling me, nobody is calling me. No one is talking to me. Everyone's just telling me like, yeah, you're a hysterical bitch and fucking you deserve whatever.
No, they're telling you to log off the internet and stop responding.
But I
what
can't.
they're telling you.
Okay, but then I
You
need.
can.
I need some of you
can.
people.
It's very easy. It's
There
very
is one
capable.
person. There is one person who I've been able to talk to this whole time. Okay.
Koof with
And you know
$2
what would
says,
be
"What if
really
you left
helpful
five
is
guys
if somebody
Pringles at your
some of these people who say they care about the show and they care about my boundaries, if somebody could just talk to me and say, "Hey Vito, like I definitely understand. I want you to feel like your boundaries are respected." But
Are
nobody
you asking
wants me
for
to feel
Dick
like
to do that, or like who do you want to call?
I
for?
want anybody, whatever. I want somebody to tell me, I understand you want. I absolutely understand that, and I understand, even though I can't understand why this freaks you out so much. And again,
What,
a lot of it.
wait, was
It
it not
doesn't
good enough
freak
when Andy
us
said he
out.
understood your boundaries? He said he understood.
Yeah,
Who?
and
Andy
he did say
Signore?
that. Yeah.
Yeah, he said he
the
understood.
1 million subscriber channel that you wouldn't mention on the biggest problem in the universe.
For the record, he did out himself in the chat there, so it's not like
Okay,
Real
okay,
quick,
I'm
I have to
sorry.
say
I
something.
apologize.
So
I'm not
that,
Patreon.
That comment you pulled up, or that Trixie pulled up, it brought up Candyman and Hassan Piker, and that is very analogous to this because Sam Hyde, after he wins that fight, looks in the camera and says, "Hassan Piker, I'm coming to kill you," and the guy says, "In the ring," and he says, "No, in real life," and he goes on this whole thing, and doubled down that it was real. Now, Vito, was that funny?
Who said it?
Sam Hyde.
Sam Hyde.
He says, I'm gonna kill Hassan Piker, wear his skin. I'm gonna come into his house in Los Angeles and murder him.
Do Sam Hyde and Hassan Piker do a show together?
No, so it's even more of a
what does that matter? You and Riley don't do a show together.
Apparently, Riley's part of the show, is what I've been told. And Riley
He is part of the show. It's weird for you to think he's not.
Okay, so if he's part of the show, then it's not okay.
Why isn't it okay?
Because this is the show that I do.
What do you intend to do about it, by the way? Like, what if you're not okay with it? What is, like, you keep engaging
We'll
with
find
it, which
out.
makes it feel like you're trying to make it keep happening.
I don't know. I don't know what's
Vito, what do you, sorry, realist, in your weird dream world scenario, if Riley does show up to your house and does all the things and you magically somehow get him arrested, what do you do then?
The show's over if I get him arrested. That's obvious.
So why would you
if I
think
call
any
the
of
cops
the
on Riley, the show's over.
Do you think he wants to end the show?
I think if he comes on my property, yeah.
I think he wants you to stop making decisions.
I think he
that would-
also wants to bait me into getting a restraining order on him because that would also end the show.
By the way, John, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Do you
Who
want
else is
to,
here?
John from John Breaks Bad News?
Oh my God, JVBN. Hey, buddy.
Look, here's the deal.
What's up, bud?
Like, what is this? What is this? I'm in a
What is
world
what?
where there's a video of a guy, okay, screaming at me and saying he wants to damage my property. And I've said, listen, I get it's the internet. We make jokes. If you stay on the public street, there's no problem. But I take a big issue with what he's saying. I don't think it's funny. It's a big boundary for me.
You understand?
And
that
nobody
Vito,
can just say,
there
Vito,
is
it's
no
okay for you to have
context.
that boundary.
There is no context whatsoever in which that video would have been released if you had not told.
Can I
Riley
have that boundary?
that you were
it doesn't
going
matter
to
if
send
the
it
video.
to the
Hold on.
cops.
No. It doesn't matter if the video was released. It was said to me. It's a boundary for me. Does anyone respect that
It's a boundary
boundary?
to even say.
Sorry,
To say you're going to commit property
I'm going
damage
to
and assault.
interrupt.
Can
I mean,
say
we've all
that's my
made jokes
boundary?
that we're going to do that. Like I have said that I'm going to.
Vito,
Can I
I'm
say
literally
that's
under your
my
bed eating your magic cards right now.
Is that my personal boundary? Does anyone respect it on any level?
Do you?
What do you
by
mean? That
respect?
you don't want
Like, what
people
does
coming into your
If
house?
I told you this is really important to me, that this is a boundary for me, I don't want this joked about, and you go, I don't understand it. It doesn't make any sense. I think it would be better if you handled it this way. But because I'm a friend of yours, and because I'm a fan of the show, and because this is important to you, I will respect this thing I do not understand. And what I'm hearing from everyone is, I cannot do that for you.
I respect your right to
are-
set that boundary. I just think it's a bad strategic move on your part, and also it
That's
seems like the
fine.
goalpost has moved. It seems like the goalpost has now moved from "don't come on my property" to "don't joke about coming on my property."
Yeah.
That's a very big part of it. It's but look,
So it's
the
jokes.
biggest
You
thing-
don't like jokes.
the biggest thing is to stay off my property.
And not joke about it also.
Well, a boundary for me is if you're going to joke about it, I don't think it's funny and it makes me uncomfortable. I mean, I
But
can't stop
other
you from
people
making
might
jokes.
think it's funny.
I
You
have
might...
no legal way to stop you from making those
You
jokes. If you-
threatened to send Riley back to jail over this joke.
I said if you come on my property, I'll call the cops. Okay, that's not.
You
a
said
joke.
if you release this footage, I will send it to the fucking.
I will
Texas
sue you. He said he
authorities,
will sue them.
and also I'll sue you. You said both of those things.
Even though if anyone was in the wrong, it is Vito.
At the time, I was very heated from a guy telling me he's going to do property damage to me, and I said
What is
whatever
it
I
with you and
could.
property
What guy?
damage? Why?
Which
wait,
guy?
Actually, I do want to unpack this.
Well,
Why
Trixie,
are you
it
so
doesn't-
fucking sensitive about the property shit? Like, I don't get that.
It's my, whatever it is, it's my personal reasons. I don't have to
It's gay.
explain why.
I want to understand your gay
You
reasoning.
can say it's gay. It's a boundary for me. I'm worried about property damage.
Are
I'm
you
worried
not
about theft.
capable of explaining it? Like, do you just think the explanation won't be good enough? I might understand.
I
but,
think
like,
the explanation relates back to just me being very particular about my home being a safe space for me. And I know people think safe space is a gay fucking term, but it's literally the one place that I'm not on the fucking internet and I'm not a public
But
figure.
you are on the internet in your home.
Yes, on Twitter and shit. But when I'm in my home and I'm lying in my bed and I'm petting my cats, there's no part of me that wants to think in the back of my mind someone's going to show up and start fucking around and scare my cats and knock on my windows.
Tell you, I kind of genuinely don't respect that mentality. Not that I don't understand it.
I have people on Kiwi Farm saying they want to slit my throat. Okay, so
No,
like,
but,
there's a part
oh
of
my
me
God,
that
Kiwi
okay,
Farms.
I know,
Bringing up Kiwi Farms is fucking
well,
insane.
I know that, like, look, yeah, okay, well, that's never gonna happen. You're gonna be fine. I still every day have people say they want to come to my house and slit my fucking throat. So there's a part of me that when we start joking around about my house,
Vito, do you know? Sorry, hang on. I'm sorry,
safe.
and I get the house stuff with Kiwi Farms. I guess a little bit, but do you understand how much
I live in
shit
fear
has
of being
been
swatted? You know, like
awesome. Have you ever been swatted?
People have tried, and the cops called me, thankfully, and nothing happened.
I had somebody come into my house and put duct tape over my ex-fiance's mouth.
A literal Kiwi farmer.
I had to chase him out of my house, and
so you guys should know how fucking scary that is.
It is
like,
scary.
You're telling me like, oh, you have tougher skin than me, and you're not as worried about it. Okay, I'm not.
I also didn't pursue anything legal about it because it was just some weird
That's
little
you.
schizo.
You can handle it however you want. For me, it's look. You guys have you've been a part of this community for way longer than me. And in this community, you've seen a lot of shit. You've seen a lot of people get doxxed. You've seen a lot of people get swatted. You've seen fucking fights. You've seen whatever. I joined this community, 4 years ago? And at the time, I knew none of that. I did not watch The Dick Show. I knew barely anything about fucking Maddox or the biggest problem in the universe. And as I've gone along, I've tried to acclimate it to myself. And I go, well, this is a pretty nutty space. A lot of fucking shit goes on here that I'm not used to. You guys have been here for a decade, and you go, oh, Riley just does that. We've seen Riley a million times.
Real quick. I wanna go over a few things here. First of all, this Johnny Rocket $5. Shout out Tony from Acting Movies for starting all this. He's our Iron Man, indeed.
Dick Let's go, Tony. Why do you have to talk about him? Why do you have to talk about Eric July?
Who doesn't feel that way about their home? Well, who has a Discord dedicated to a show they do every week where there's this idea that guys can go in there and talk shit about other people's houses? This has never been a problem on the Discord before, and then all of a sudden it happens. And I'm being told,
well, that's
just part of the show. Well, I don't want this to be part of the show.
Stop making such a big fucking deal about it. That's how you make that happen.
A fucking boundary. Here's the boundary.
I want to break my headphones like Dick when he was talking to that.
Fucking do it. This is the boundary for me, and I'm setting it.
Jesus Christ. Everyone's telling you how to set the boundary effectively.
This is a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Let's get ready for Vito to set his boundary for the 1500th time.
Yes, Vito, yes. Do nothing, say nothing, let it go away.
Let Riley come to your home, let him film a little video, let him do whatever he wants.
He's not going to do fucking anything if you ignore him. He's going to...
Can we talk about Pokemon Gen?
You did say that...
tuck between his legs because he didn't get anything out of you. Like,
you did say that, like at the beginning of this, that you weren't worried about Riley coming and taping $40 to your door.
I'm not. I'm worried he's going to film something on my property. At this point, I think he understands not to.
Wait, so hang on. Sorry. What that he could film on your property concerns you?
Just anything, because then it just opens the door to other people coming and filming.
But and this isn't necessarily an excuse. Your address is public, yes?
Yes.
So what is the concern?
I'm going to set up one of those streamer houses where people are allowed to just come and go. Next, we've got our own property. I'm like, everyone's going to be allowed.
The concern is that there's one place on this earth that I'm very protective of, and I know I can't stop people from being on the public streets, so do what you want there, okay?
You live in LA. Your house is gonna
Yeah,
burn
you do
down.
live in LA.
You're gonna flood and fucking get erased off the
So you
earth,
don't
dude.
respect
Your
my
house
boundaries.
is not safe.
Okay, I get it. You don't respect my boundary.
I just don't.
What if he films your house
You have
from the
made your
street?
boundaries.
Is that
You have made your boundaries
I've
abundantly
made
clear.
them
If
clear,
Riley
and
shows
everyone
up,
is and everyone has told me that they're ridiculous and they don't respect it.
No one said
you've
they were
just made it
ridiculous.
clear so many times. If Riley shows up at your house and fucks with it, I'll be fully on your side. But you just going over and over the same thing is just making you're
Well,
dumping
I'm
gas
glad
on
you
the fire,
said you've
bro.
been on my side because there's other people who are saying, well, because you established.
He didn't
boundaries
say
so
he
many
was on your
times-
side.
I said I
Now-
will be on your side if Riley shows up and fucks with your house.
All right.
But I mean, I understand you have every right to set these boundaries, but the panic attack
And everybody
that's
else
setting
has
in
every
here is-
right to tell me I'm fucking crazy and nuts and I'm ruining the show because of it.
I also
that's the.
I
other
also
thing.
kind of
So-
see
hang
Vito's
on.
Let's put
point.
it this way.
Oh my God.
Let's
For
put
the
it this
record,
way.
Bird has never
Let's put it
liked
this way.
the show more.
Let's put it this way. Okay, I'm crazy and I'm nuts and I'm irrational. That's part of my character and it's part of why you like the show. So can you please let the crazy, nuts, irrational, fat guy just have this one fucking thing and stop telling him you're crazy, fat, and irrational? I know. That's what
Man,
you like
you-
about
I don't
the
think
show,
it's
I think.
unreasonable. I don't think
You don't
it's
think it's
unreasonable for Vito to not want people to like promote the idea of like going to his house and
It scares
fucking
I
with
don't
his
think
cat.
that is
Look,
unreasonable.
I
at
agree
all.
with
want
you.
it as part
Hold
of the
on.
show.
John, I agree with you on that. Do you
Yeah.
think that it is unreasonable of us to say to him that like the best way for him to do that is to not talk about the fact that he doesn't want people to come to his house? Because the number one thing that's going to make people come to his house is insistently not shutting up about how much you don't want people to come to your house. It's like
I
Do you
think
remember
all
that-
of you, if you genuinely cared about this and you are friends with Riley and you are friends with me, have you gone to Riley and said, hey, Vito's really freaking out. Can you tell him you're not going to go to his house?
I mean,
And none of you would ever do that.
we have all told you what
I'll
will prevent Riley
I'll
from
send a
coming
message.
to
I
your
think it's a
house.
waste of time. But
Talking
I'm
to
with
Riley,
you.
Yeah, I'll
like,
send a
Consider-
message too.
Riley
That
was
would be-
response
that
to
would
that.
be a
was,
Let's
"Hey,
all
don't
send a
fucking
message.
tell me
Just-
what
That would
to
be
do."
a really
just-
cool
sorry,
thing.
real quick.
That would be a very
Let's
cool
all
thing
send
for
a
my friends
message
to do.
simultaneously to let
Yeah,
let's
Riley
all send it
know
right now.
that Vito's really
Riley's
freaking out right
watching
now.
the show, by the way. Like, he
No
knows
way.
what we're talking
No way.
about.
Riley's watching the show about him.
I'm almost certain he's somewhere in the audience. I haven't confirmed that, so don't take that as me like saying I don't know, but he probably.
No,
But at
I'm
the end of the
messaging
day,
him right
let's be
now.
clear.
Vito, what do you want me to say to Riley?
I want you to say, hey, Vito is really concerned about people filming on his property. Can you say you're not going to film on his property?
Oh, I can say that, but he's not going to say yes.
Right. But
Yeah.
but here's
Wait,
the thing.
so
Well,
is
here's the
sorry.
thing. Is it a prank? Is it a bit? Or would you actually want him to how would you want him to react? Would you want him to do that for me?
If Riley told
What
me
do
he
you
was gonna
mean?
come over to my property, I would be like, "Oh, cool. We're gonna meet up here, and we're gonna film this and this, and this weekend we're gonna start. We're gonna work on another. Like, I'd be excited that my friend's coming over."
So it sounds like again, you guys you don't care about my boundary. You don't care if Riley like makes it clear.
That's
to
not
me,
what
hey,
I
I'm not
said
gonna
at
film
all.
it.
Do you
I-
want him
But
to?
you-
Sorry. So
In the
I
But
don't
realm of
see.
what I just said.
Do you
I'm
care
sorry.
about my boundary being respected? Like you don't want Riley to do this thing, right?
What do you mean this thing?
Do I
No,
care
you
about
can't
your
talk like
boundary
that.
being respected? No. That's gay. I don't care about anyone else's boundaries being respected. That is for you to worry about.
Well, Trixie,
I'm not a
as your
protector of
friend,
your
if somebody
boundaries.
said, "Hey, I want to come on your show and I want to call Trent,"
Please try not to make this a rape joke, because that's
Right.
3. That'll
Fuck.
be your that you go to hell after that.
why is Dick saying Vito doesn't care about people going? See, this is the whole thing. Everybody thinks I'm lying for some fucking reason.
you do
It's
it
so
a
weird.
lot?
Do you
You
guys
seem
okay?
like you're lying.
But do you guys really think? So you think I don't care about people coming to my house? Does anyone think
No,
that
no
at this
one,
point?
no one thinks you don't care about people coming
We
to
think
your
you
house.
care about
literally
people coming to your
hold on.
house.
We think
Dick
you care about
literally
it so much that it's actually like
Put
magnetizing
that back on the screen.
people
Put
to
that back on the screen then. Put Dick's comment back on the screen. Vito doesn't care about people going to his house. So that's where
He
I'm
just
at
wants
right now.
people to nag Riley so he
Right.
wins. So
So-
I do
so-
think that's kind of true, though.
No. I genuinely don't want people going to my house, and I don't understand.
But
why I
everyone
can't-
knows that already. So you're just
Dick
nagging
is
Riley.
saying right here, I don't care about it. Everyone doesn't know it. You keep asking me, why do you keep repeating it? Well, here's why. Because the guy I do the show with thinks I'm doing a bit. And I don't know how to tell him I'm not doing a bit. Okay, Dick, I'm not doing a bit.
How well do you know the guy you're doing a show with?
Dick, I'm not doing a bit. This is very serious to me. And I don't understand. Like, this is the first time in the show I've been like, hey, I have a boundary. I don't want to talk about it. And I don't know why I
talk about it.
You've talked about your house plenty of times.
I need to talk about it. I need to talk about it.
Vito, were you really upset about Dick making fun of you shitting in his house? And because I feel like that's where this all really started.
No. See, right? That's what I've been trying to get back to.
I think Dick was more upset with me not apologizing for it.
Real quick, two super chats. Michael Winning with $2 says, Vito, grow up. I mean, he's already like 40. Berserk 850 with $5. Right, Vito, you're like 40, something like that. Am I overshooting? Berserk
Vito says, I'm sorry. We can hate on Vito as much as we want, but he's got to be like 30.
No, he is definitely older than me. I'm 33. Berserk says
Vito has that beautiful obese woman figure. I don't think.
God damn it! Let me read the super chat for $5. By antagonizing others, others are going to antagonize you. The more you react negatively, the more aggressive and frequent. Yeah, usually you figure that out in like elementary school, but you know
I figured it out by watching a series called Feeding the Trolls, which has at least 150 episodes.
Dick says you're not doing a bit. You're just lying to win with Riley. Okay, I don't want to win with Riley.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What do you want?
No, you're not trying to win with Riley. You're trying to win over Riley. It's different.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't even know what a win looks like over Riley at this point.
What do you want? Like, what do you want the most out of this?
I want people to stay off my property.
Yeah, but after that, after the not being on the property happens, like, what's the next step?
As life continues as it has been.
For Riley to say, hey, I'm doing a bit, or
Koo for $2 says, what about Dick's boundaries with the toilet?
What about Dick's
You were being pretty disrespectful about his boundaries. About
here's what I want to have happen. Here's what I
Evan Flesher with $2. I don't have anything to say, but here's $2.
I want people, if this is a community and this is an audience and we all love this show and we're all part of a thing, okay? I want people to stop assuming that Vito is some sort of weird manipulator who's trying to convince you he cares about his house to win some sort of battle over a fat guy he doesn't like.
It's not about the house.
A slightly less.
It is. You really don't think it's about the house? Like,
I think
the
from
only
your
thing here's what sets me off: property damage and theft. I'm gonna fuck with your house. I'm gonna fuck with your car. I'm also a guy. Look, guys, I know this sounds retarded, but
your defense is that you were triggered, is what you're trying to say, right? Like, you got triggered so hard by him saying those words.
I got triggered. Okay. I'm a bitch. I'm a loser. Riley wins 100%.
I don't
just want to be left alone. This is my one happy place. I can just be in my bed. I can pet my cats. I can play my video games. And I don't have to worry about being disturbed.
Genuine question.
And here's what I want. I want all these people who say they're my friends and they love me and they support me to stop telling me I'm crazy and hysterical and just say, I understand and I respect that. Thanks, Vito. And
so what if I think you're being crazy and hysterical besides all of that?
I don't think I'm crazy and hysterical because that matters to me.
No, I don't think
the fact that you've said property damage 2,000 times and said he threatened to beat my face into concrete maybe 3 times says a lot.
Because I think I can avoid Riley, who's 5'2". I think if I leave my house, whatever. I think it's a lot easier.
He's gonna eat all the magic
to fuck with my house.
Vito, you could eat that man. I'm sorry.
You could air him out.
You could absolutely just like body slam him, eat him, Kirby him,
even if
Kirby him.
Let's say you think I'm lying and you think I'm doing a bit and you think it's all kayfabe, but it's all an emotional fucking thing.
I don't think any of those things.
No, I know you don't. I know
you
don't.
He's talking to Dick. He's trying to talk to anybody. The goddamn Twitter chat.
I wish Vito was more direct with who he's talking to instead of going like, "Oh, I'm talking to this person who doesn't exist."
Community guy.
I just want to talk about this. I just need people to understand this matters to me. I know that. Look. You have an emotional, retarded friend, and it's me. And you've successfully triggered me and bullied me into freaking out about my house.
Real quick,
Okay,
Mr.
you've
Abstruse
gotten
for
that.
$2.
Riley's already won. He got exactly what he wanted. I'm worried about my house.
He didn't get a free dinner yet.
Okay, I'm always gonna be fucking upset when people say they're gonna fuck with my property, and then when I say, "Hey, I really don't want anybody to fuck with my property," a bunch of people go, "I don't know what you're fucking freaking out about."
I'm
don't
sure-
say
I'm sorry.
I don't want
Wait.
people to fuck with
That
my
could have been
property.
a
You say I'm going to throw people in jail.
Hey, hold on. My boundaries are being affected by someone in chat right now. This asshole, Mr. Abstruse, Trixie bullied off Discord, and Veto is triggered. I'm in the Dick Show Discord, so I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. It's right here on my screen. I'm not in the Biggest Problem Discord because I don't pay for it. It's a fucking patron exclusive thing, so I've never been bullied out of that. If that's what you're saying.
Look, at
Sorry,
this point,
I just had to settle.
At this
that real
point,
quick.
I don't want to win over anyone. This is not about me winning.
Wait, I have a couple more super chats.
What is it
about-
about?
It's
Wait,
about-
wait.
Oh,
The
God.
supers come first. The money comes before everything. You said it first, Bird.
I get it.
Berserk
Money,
chip
money,
for
money.
$10 says Vito just put
Must
up
be
a
funny.
fence.
But there's a hat already over it.
Yeah, the hat's already over the fence. He's obviously
The hat's over the super chats.
Michael Winning with $5 says, Vito, if you cared about a community of respect, you wouldn't be turning on fans and banning people who pay and support you. You made this problem.
Again, 10 people got banned before one show, and they all got unbanned immediately afterwards. Everyone's blowing that out.
And they
Would you have unbanned them if Dick didn't give you shit for it?
Yes, I already said I was planning to do
keep
it.
apologizing for it instead of making it sound like something that you shouldn't have to apologize for. Cool for $2 says, what if you bought a decoy home? Would that help? It would be better than being defensive about it endlessly, or you just not.
But
say
everybody
it.
says that when he apologizes, he's lying.
I just wouldn't say anything. I mean, the number one piece of advice, and I keep
the number one piece of advice is let anyone do whatever they want to you, because if you respond to it,
that's
you
not
lose.
how it. People just won't fuck with you if they can't get anything out of it. If they don't get a reaction, there's nothing to do. There's nothing to
The
make
end
fun
of that call with Riley, he says, "You gave me everything I want or everything I need," and that's it, man.
You gave me the best.
This is a great. Thank you, Dick.
Or something
Banning
like that.
is a boundary for.
All right, then let's talk
That's the
about it.
boundary you
Let's
cross.
talk about our fucking boundaries. Let's actually discuss the show and figure out what it is.
On Friday's episode. That's definitely
Sure.
gonna
If we
happen.
got to do it on Friday during the show, let's do it. But we got to talk about it.
Would you?
Please don't
would
make
you-
us sit through a Josh Denny episode.
I don't. understand
Well,
why-
we're gonna have to sit through a Josh Denny episode of Mint and Riley. If Mint and
No,
Riley
no,
right now,
you just have to
here's
do
the
the
deal.
biggest
Hold
problem
on.
from
No,
the
no, no, no,
buffet.
no, no.
I
Here's
can't
what
understand how it would be possible that Mint and Riley show up on Friday and are not just on the biggest problem with.
Mint and Riley.
That
have
would be
said-
so good.
That seems obvious to
Mint
me.
and Riley have said on Friday they're gonna come fuck with my house while I'm doing biggest problem. Okay,
We've
and as
all
long
read
as-
the chats.
What do they
of
mean by
you
that?
guys, like,
What could that
making the
possibly mean?
plan.
That could mean anything.
What that means is I'm going to be at home and Josh Denny will do the episode.
They could fucking go to some random parking lot in LA and say it's your house and film a whole video about it and send it to Dick while you're
That's
on
fine.
the show.
There's
and
been a
it'd be
Because they
hilarious.
did that to Eric July.
There's been a threat to film on my property, and because of that, I have to stay home to see if something happens.
Oh,
so
sorry.
this week,
Why can't you
Josh
just
Denny
hire
will-
somebody or
Sorry,
get a
quick
friend to
question.
look at?
Maybe
watch
I'll have to do that in the future.
But what is the
This
difference?
week I'll be at home on Friday.
What is the difference between filming on your property and filming near your property?
I'm
like in your
comfortably
eyes,
filming
I'm-
near my property because my house is further away from the street. You can't peer into my windows. You can't fucking touch any of my shit.
Okay, so you're
what
concerned
about
about your
is the
stuff.
copycat crime, not even the. So like how?
Yeah,
would it
you're
be
also
different?
not concerned about Riley showing up and doing anything. You're just concerned
Yeah, you're
about
concerned about the
him
copycat.
I am
somehow inciting
concerned about
people?
Riley doing stuff. I mean,
What
at
do you
this
think
point,
he's gonna
You
do?
are concerned about Riley. What
What
do you think
wait,
Riley is going
what
to
do
do?
you actually, in realistically, like consider everything you know about Riley? What do you think he's actually gonna do? Because it's not gonna be pour fucking pig's blood through your car windows. I hope that's obvious to you.
I
don't
think
know
my
where the
cats
fuck
are going
he
to be
gets-
chilling out.
Where do you even find pig's blood?
In Cary, they cut the head off
You
of
can-
a pig
you
in
can
a
buy-
farm,
you
and
can
they
buy
poured
pig's
its head
blood.
and blood in a bucket.
Why
So-
do you know where to buy pig's blood? Are you planning some kind of counterattack?
Here's the deal. I don't know what they're going to do, but I assume it's coming up. It's filming. It's making my house into a bit. So I'm going to stay home on Friday to see if they show up. And
But
Josh
so
Denny will do
even
the
if
episode.
even if they're filming outside of your
I don't
house,
think
your
that's a
house
good
is still
idea.
a bit.
I have to
I
be.
don't-
There's been people saying they're going to show up and film my house, and one thing I have to do is I have to be at home to deal with it.
What
Why
if
do
they
you
show
have
up
to
at
be
Dick's
at
house
home
and
to
do
If
the
you were
episode
film
actually-
replace it?
your house?
If you were actually worried about them being sneaky enough to do something like that, do you think they'd be dumb enough to actually show up exactly when they said they were going to show up? They'd show
When
up at a
somebody
different
makes
time.
a threat against my house in that way, and they give me a date and a time, even if there's only a 1% chance it's going to happen.
Oh my God! What
I'm
if
just
you
gonna
stay
stay
at
home to deal
home
with
and
it.
they end up on the biggest problem without
That's
you? What if
that's
they're
fine.
the co-host?
They can do the episode.
Okay, I just want to thought experiment time because we're most of us are writers here.
I thought I was just in thought experiment
And
time.
Vito's a writer also. I want to know, like, I know you don't know what they're going to do when they come to your house, but I want us to imagine it together. Like, what do you think they are going to do? Or, like, not do you think, like, in real life? Like, what do you imagine happening? Like, if
I think
you're trying to picture it.
They're going to make some stupid video to post online.
But, like, what is going
What
to
does that mean?
Like, what
I
is
don't know.
in the video?
Dance around, throw money at the house, whatever else.
Like,
That
from the
all sounds
yard or,
hilarious.
like, the...
I think they will be in the
driveway?
yard. I think they will be filming my house. and
Films
I think
fans,
they will
film
be-
Fansly content.
I think they will be on private property, and then once that video goes up, it basically says, "Well, here, look, Vito can't even protect his property.
Okay,
You can
so
do whatever
if
you want."
If they throw money at the house, are you going to collect that money or are you going to give it as evidence to the cops?
I'm sure I will take the dollar bills, and I'll take them. Sure.
How do you know they're going to be singles?
Yeah, he usually leaves pretty big donations. I
Dick
mean,
says so. He's going to miss the show and blame Riley. Dick, why don't you call me and we'll talk about it?
Dick
I
will
don't
not
know
have a phone call with you. Were you not on the Dick show in the last episode?
Well, when I have guys in the Discord saying they're coming to my house to fuck with me, I have to. I don't know who it is. I don't know. You know, I know it's Riley, but I don't know.
This goes back to what I was saying. It's like you're already were intentionally or not intentionally sabotaging the biggest problem, and
Well, all
you're
it takes-
using
all it
Riley
takes
and
is-
Mint as an excuse
All
now
it takes
for all
is
that.
one phone call from my friends to figure it out and hash it out. And I would think this is hopefully we're doing a show. It's a professional show. And we can just figure it out.
And just to because I got to get out of here, but just to re-clarify, Vito, I love you. I think you're hilarious. I also love Riley and Mint. Biggest problem is
promote
definitely
yourself
top
before
two
you leave,
podcast
Sir
ever.
Seat Sitter, because I care about you because you're a cool guy who I've met, and even though you've got like a low sub count, I still like respect you and follow what you do and understand who you are.
Yeah,
Remember your
shootmyass.com. We just
Send
did
my
an
regards
episode
to your
on
wife and
cigarettes.
kid, and all that.
Yes. And yeah, I love all you guys. And for real, biggest problem is a huge source of joy in my life. I hope it doesn't end. And
Well,
Vito,
I hope we can.
just
I hope we can figure it out. But as it stands, if nobody calls,
Sir
me, nobody
Seat Sitter,
talks to
before
me,
you go,
Friday will be Josh Denny because I have to be here with Riley.
hold on,
Wait,
Vito.
so hang on.
Vito, I
just
have
needs
something
be
to say.
called and told he's loved.
No, I have word from Riley before anybody leaves.
How did you get word from Riley? Fucking let's go.
So
What do you mean, how?
I
We're all in like
He's
the
not-
same 8 group
he-
chats where this has been happening.
he's not watching the show, but I DM'd him saying like, please stop messing with Vito, and he said he would not pull up to your house if you delete Vito and Vito 2.
Holy shit.
Oh boy.
Well,
delete my YouTube
Vito
channel.
has explicitly expressed that he is not a YouTuber. He doesn't enjoy it anymore.
This is true.
I do understand where it's coming
delete
from.
my YouTube channels.
Why?
Because I don't want to delete my YouTube channels. I'm not going to pay $1
All
million.
right, that is
either.
a good enough reason for me, honestly.
Okay, pay me $1 million and I won't do it. Look, I'm staying
You
home on
won't do it.
Friday. I'm staying home on Friday to deal with whatever it is Riley has planned. I don't know what it is.
I don't think Riley has actually
news.
planned anything for you.
Well, but your imagination of what it is that he's going to stand outside and throw money around. So how are you being there going to change any of that? Like, how are you going to affect that situation?
I'm not going to let people play around on my fucking property. While
How
I'm
are
not
you going to
home.
stop him?
If he's
What the
on
fuck
my
are you gonna do,
property,
fight him?
I'm going to call the cops.
And do you know
What
how
are the
long it
cops
takes to
gonna do?
get there? He can show up, throw $10, and
That's
drive
fine,
away.
and I will
the cops will
prevent
show up
him.
and go,
I
"Where'd he
will-
go?"
Okay,
That's
fine.
not preventing him.
It doesn't matter. I need to be here. I need to monitor who's on my property and what's going on.
What monitor how? In what way?
Vito,
I need to be here to witness it. I'm not going to just let somebody dance around my fucking property. And
He
like,
needs to
be
know
like, "Oh, that's
exactly
fine."
when to call the police.
So you need to be able to tell the police that it happened. It's not going to stop it from having happened.
Wait a minute. Vito, can't you monitor the security cameras on your... Don't you get alert when someone enters your property? Why can't you just have that alert system set up while you're doing the biggest problem?
I want to be there in person.
But why
Vito, I have some bad
You
news.
contribute nothing.
Vito, I have some bad news from Riley. He's definitely going to be at your house on Friday.
Okay. Dick says,
What
are we
time
actually gonna hear
exactly?
Your house? Why don't you call me and we'll talk about it?
He's not going to call you.
Just say yes.
It's not a bit.
All right.
Like I can't have people here.
All right,
And
I gotta go. I love
have
all
to
of
be
you.
here to make
I'll
sure
see you.
they don't
Love
fuck
you,
around. They don't.
Yeah, I got to go
get
too.
into my shit. Okay.
Later, John.
I'm going to go back on chat.
Wait. Promote yourself before you go. Tell people.
Oh, John Breaks Bad News on TikTok. John Breaks Bad News on Instagram. John Breaks Bad.
Oh, he disappeared. What the fuck? Also, Vito just dipped. Vito just disappeared. He vaporized, I guess.
Vito was like, "Oh my god, everyone's leaving. It's my out."
I think he did. It was one part that and one part he wants to go try to call Dick, who's not going to respond on.
Yeah, it has very clear boundaries about that.
He set that boundary on the previous episode of the Dick Show.
You know, for someone who talks so much about setting boundaries, you'd think he'd follow that boundary.
Dude, Mother of God, we can have a real conversation now. The fucking child is out of the room. They won't listen to anything. It, like, can't be spoken to. And fucking, it's like, that felt like the most Sisyphean conversation I've had in a while. And I've had some bad ones.
Yeah. But it also seemed like Vito cared more about Riley saying he won't go to his house than Riley actually going to his house or not.
What if Riley said he wasn't going to the house and then he was at the house?
That's what I came back in to ask Vito. I wanted to know, like, if we get him to say that, what if he still shows up?
Sorry, I zoned out because I was thinking about the fact that Ben was in here earlier, and it was really funny.
Oh, I did in fact ban Ben Saint.
Yeah.
Oh,
I was thinking about it would be funny if you unbanned him now. That he
Sure.
wouldn't be interrupting my train of thought. So
I banned him because it was very clear he wasn't going to join the fucking chat, and so he was just saying bullshit for no reason.
I can always take out all the rage that Vito just created in me by screaming at another version of the same guy.
Can we get Maddox on the line?
Oh my god, could you imagine? His ideas with $2 says, I didn't get him to ask if he's ready to Umineko. I didn't get to ask him if he's ready to Umineko.
Vito doesn't
He has
watch
not.
anime. He's better than that.
Oh, yeah. No, I wanted to start asking him about Evangelion, like if he thinks he understands it at all. Because, like, the basic principle of that, of the anime is about, like, breaking free from that, like we mind mentality. Like the plot of the show is basically this evil organization is trying to turn everybody into a literal hive mind that will all have one thought together. And, like, in one version of the story, he accepts that, and it's kind of like a weirdly horrifying version of like a happy ending. And then the real ending is like, actually, you should escape that and try again, even if the whole world is fucked and dead. But like, it's better than being in the goo. Vito just wants to be in the goo. Like he wants the TV ending of Ava. He doesn't want end of Ava. He definitely doesn't want rebuild. He does not want to be told he's got to go outside. Not at all. I know you know what I'm talking about, Bird. Yeah, his little room being a safe space thing. Like, I know a lot of y'all feel that way, and Dick was kind of like, who doesn't feel that way about their house? Like, you should break that mentality. That's it. Don't feel safe ever. Why? Why would you do that? That's not how you live.
Nothing is safe.
I don't know. There's plenty of people out there who do not have the capability of feeling safe in any circumstances because their house wasn't a safe place when they were growing up. They did not have a safe space. And that's a very normal experience globally. It's a very like white bread fucking little suburban. And I'll even say this about myself. I grew up the same way. I was a hikikomori, and like that's something my parents gifted to me. And I, when I got to my early 20s, quickly realized like if my parents died tomorrow, this goes away, and I have to learn how to be human, And in Vito's case, it's like he's built this support network of all these people who are trying to help him have a career online. And the more of them that he fucks up his relationships with, the less he has that. And he doesn't feel as seriously about his connections to people like us who are more tertiary to it. But like we all feed into it. I've sent so many fans to the Dick Show and The Biggest Problem, and most of my fans do not like Vito. Even the ones who like Dick do not like Vito. And
it was really crazy seeing
so
Ellen shit on Vito the whole time.
Ellen can't stand him.
It was insane. There were a couple people.
A couple super chats. Koof with $5. Only Yukari Yakumo could soften Vito's firm boundaries. I'm going to pull a picture of her on screen in a second. And Plague on Humanity with $5 says, topics, how Discord generals make bad community. You're trying to build culture, not community. Yes, thank you. That is... I hate Discord generals, and that's it's a fun. I never said that phrase, but that is exactly what I was accusing Vito of being. It's like a guy who wields around the fact that he's in charge to,
Wait, are you picturing Discord generals as like a person in a Discord who views themselves as a general?
Yeah, he means general chats, but you know what? Both of them
Lord above.
I was literally picturing like him like wearing like a general cape and being like, haha, I'm in charge.
Bless your heart.
That's what I was accusing him of. But I also
People
was talking
salute
about
when he walks by.
I did bring up how like, yeah, my Discord does not have a general chat because it creates this. I've seen this happen too many times. And I used to have I had a Patreon Discord for a very long time. That was like, if you even gave $1, you got into that Discord community. And the people in there were certain people who would like hang out in there all the time, who literally were $1 patrons, and who, because they kind of built like an insular community in there that I didn't really participate much in because I don't spend all my fucking time on Discord, And like I would pop in and I'd read it and I'd see these people get really opinionated about me, and I would often take it seriously because I looked at it like these are my patrons, and I wasn't like sorting out how much everybody's giving me and that kind of stuff. Like, I was letting it have a lot of effect on the way I did things, which was kind of asinine because like a lot of the people who were giving me a ton of money and who loved what I was doing some of the time never said anything, never stepped foot in the Discord, And eventually I realized like when you create any kind of community, there are certain people who are going to be desperate for it. Some people want it because it's a cool thing. Some people want it to be their whole life. Some people are just going to lose themselves in it. You go into the Dick Show Discord, you see these people, like who are in there always. And they're not all like bad people. Some of them I like, Lemon Saki, I like them, Crim Cole, but these people fucking live. They live in their Koof. Yeah, these people live in the Discord. And some of them are people who you can meet in person, and they're nice people and they're cool. And like, I don't know what their circumstances are, but they
get paid to thank people for not killing themselves.
Yeah. But like, yeah, the people who hang out in these communities, they start building their own little structures of like, like in group, out group thinking. And they kind of push, like, as soon as a community forms, nobody new can break into it because they can't, it feels too big. It's like too hard to wrap your head around what's going on in this space when like you come into something and everybody's speaking in like a coded language and everybody's laughing at jokes you don't get, and you just kind of go, oh, I don't get what's going on in here. Like I would even say like my Discord, even not having a general, even not having people who like live in there, it does feel somewhat mysterious and foreboding. Like you really got to lurk to figure out what the fuck is going on in there because people are speaking on like meme levels of assuming that you've played obscure visual novels, like assuming that you know what Umineko is, or at least are watching my streams about it. And like, if you're not, you can't follow the conversation. But that to me is, again, that's culture. It's like it's the same as like water cooler discussion. It's like it's people who are coming together to discuss my show or to discuss the things that surround my show in specific because they have something to say, not because they hang out in there. What the hell? Why is Bird calling me? What happened? Hello? No, my phone's right here. Why are you calling me instead of talking to me through the stream? Oh, no, it's not me. I don't know whose it could be. For telling me an iPhone's going off somewhere in the house that he thought was mine. And so he called me to confirm that my phone was on. He didn't just like say that he was doing that. Frog Tony with $2 says, I will poop in Vito's toilet and not flush. Oink.
Yeah.
That's a good strat. Oh man. Manny, how do you feel about all this? Because you seem to implicitly understand and agree with what I'm saying about this team guy shit.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just disappointed in Vito for like trying to crucify Riley for the exact same thing he supported him for 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
he was all about it when it was 7th of July, and friend or not friend, that's someone who like they had at least a professional relationship of some sort, and he's threatening to ruin his life over. I get why he doesn't think that it's jokes, but it's also obviously jokes, and he's just proving himself to be a hypocrite. And he's trying to manipulate everyone around him into bullying Riley, making Riley feel bad when Riley's also going through a tough time right now. I get Vito's going through a tough time, but he built his own prison.
The toughest thing about talking to him is that he's so consistently manipulative that you don't want to get like lost in the weeds of bringing it up every time he says anything, because obviously it'll just lead the conversation to end. So you kind of play along a little bit because you don't want to like lose him. But it's like that's the authoritativeness I'm like that I have that makes me feel so gross talking to him, is that he always pushes you into having to have the conversation a certain way. And again, I think there is some level of this that's just implicit in conversation. I think words are manipulative inherently. I think all speech is authoritative and kind of evil. And the more you acknowledge that, the better you'll be able to communicate with people. Because like the more you understand that kind of nobody wants to have to use words, like everybody would prefer that we just like got it and it just rolled. But like the only thing that'll stop you from that is the Vito style paranoid delusion. It's the constantly assuming there must be more, constantly is like making up another reason that the person is saying what they're saying and not just taking at face value what you're being told, you know?
Yeah.
And
we all told him that we value his boundaries and that we don't want Riley to actually fuck with his house. And he's like, no one here actually values my boundaries. You all want Riley to fuck with my house. It's like, no, we all said that's fine. Just don't be a dick to Riley, pretty much.
I mean, the core disagreement comes down to we all said, no, we understand your boundaries. We're telling you, you can protect yourself by ignoring this. And he's saying, no, I can't. And we're saying, yes, you can. And it's back and forth forever because he won't listen. He won't listen to why we are saying that because he disagrees with it and thinks he's right. And it's like, I don't know. At some point you got to decide that maybe all of those experienced people who've been doing this for all this time, like you said, know what they're talking about.
It also requires him to relinquish some control. He has to have trust in Riley and faith in him versus like he already has no control over his life. He has no control over when his comic book's going to come out. He has no control over what he puts in his mouth for some reason. He just can't. What he can control is who he bans and who he yells at and who he convinces to yell at Riley. And it's just It's just annoying.
And if
it's
you call out any of that behavior, he'll, well, there's an example. It's like,
yeah,
all of it, dude. All of it. Like, I'm not a fucking psychologist. I'm not going to sit here and like therapize about it. It's just like instinctively we can all feel what you're doing when you're trying to manipulate us, and it feels gross. And like the fact that you don't understand feelings and you think everything has to be proven through some kind of math equation or whatever is a high key retarded. Warpio with real quick, Warpio with Canadian $5 says Vito sounds like he gets his ideas about boundaries from Mr. Girl. I'm pretty sure it's that dude who has poisoned his mind with manipulative bullshit. I think that he doesn't really listen to Mr. Girl like that, because Mr. Girl's position is like, I have very strict boundaries and therefore I don't talk to very many people. Like, Mr. Girl is not out there schmoozing and networking all the time. Like, he brings specific people in to do specific things, and usually it's to disagree with him on a show. You know, like he's not trying to surround himself with a hug box. He would never screen cap a bunch of people agreeing with him and tweet about it because he thought it was going to help him in an argument. He just wouldn't do that.
And what's crazy is like, it's like all these people agree with me, but then there's just as many people who disagree with him, and those don't exist for some reason. It's honestly the same level of autism that makes him a good host for the show, though, because he'll just argue forever. Yeah. He doesn't see that he's convinced that he's right, and he's not willing to be flexible about it. And sometimes it's just like, open your mind, it's late here and I'm tired.
You can skate if you want to.
Yeah,
I'm gonna keep going all goddamn night probably.
Cool.
Or something.
I'll keep watching. Have a good one. And
all right, later. Do you have anything you want to promote?
Every Sunday at 2, hopefully, I'm live streaming on my YouTube channel, Manny and Dead is First, the Rest of the World. I found autistic Philly comic who I just want people to call in and argue with, and it's fun. We've done 2 episodes so far.
Nice. Everybody go check out Manny. He's fucking hilarious.
Manny also, is the best stand-up comedian of our time.
If you want to hear us together, also, we did a couple of live streams that were clipped heavily. If you go to the live stream clips, there's some clips of Manny's top moments in those live streams. Also, go watch the stand-up on his channel. It's good.
Oh, yeah.
All right,
have a good one. Good night, guys.
Later.
Oh, no.
Your fucking camera came on.
Oh, no, it's
no. All right, I just took him out before he fucks that up again. Oh, Bird. Do you want to just come down here and be on camera with me now, since it's just you and I?
Maybe in a bit. I'm just kind of chilling, you know.
Oh, you're too comfy. Okay. Chat. All right, let's talk to chat. What do y'all feel like I need to explain or expand on about that? Because Vito had no idea what I was talking about. Literally an hour in, he was like, "This isn't going."
Hey, it's me, chat. The chat that exists that's just speaking as an overall voice for. Oh, is that a super chat? Damn it.
Koof with $5 says Ethan Ralph should protect Vito's house. Revenge match: Ethan Ralph versus Ying Clippa and YG Clippa and Mid Salad.
Oh, that'd be good. That would be funny.
Hilarious.
Can
you imagine fucking Ralph going, "You shall not pass"?
Fuck. That's not what Ralph sounds like. That's what your grandma sounds like.
I can't tell the difference, dude. This is same fucking Virginia redneck goddamn. Well, no, he's from Arkansas.
Northwood,
redneck
South Memphis, Westwood. Oh.
Well, he's not from any of those. He's from
West Memphis.
Okay, yeah. The song doesn't mention West Memphis. It's North Memphis, South Memphis, Westwood, Orange Mouth. They're all part of actual Kentucky.
All right, whatever. I don't care about all this.
Different places.
Fuck.
Recap because I missed the main events. Matt. Oh, we never did finish reading the Johnny Rockets thing, which is
right.
Good. And Vito really was like, but it's so one-sided. And I'm like, yeah.
Do you think you made any headway with Vito whatsoever?
No, I don't think you can. I think I was 100%.
Do you think he established anything? Do you think you established anything? Do you think anyone who was on the call established anything? Other than things that have already been established over and over and over again.
I think that I at least shit, hold on. I have to figure out my presentation thing. I think I made myself slightly clearer to him. Like in the sense of I do think, okay, here's what I'm going to say about Vito. I don't think that he's somebody who's incapable of change or evolution. I think he's incapable of agreement. I think that he will think about it and he'll change his behavior subtly based on advice he's been given that he eventually realized is good and not really like address it that he's doing it. And I think that's very normal, especially when people are like really getting the beat down from everyone around them about how they should change. I think I've made it very clear that I don't think he appreciates the people in the community enough. Like that was kind of my biggest levy at him is like, you don't participate enough in what everyone's doing. And the reason I can say that is because I have that guilt about myself and I'm doing it more than he is. That's where it comes from. That's like the reason, that's the thing that bothers me is that like I already feel guilty about not promoting everybody more because I struggle to get my audience excited about shit. Like it's really hard for me to make people care about something they don't already care about. And so, you know, in a case like this, luckily I was able to draw more people into the stream than normally would watch it, you know, because they care about this ongoing drama. But if I can't capitalize on something like that, yeah, it's really hard to make people care about whatever I happen to be interested in this moment. And yet I keep attempting, you know, and somehow I know more about what everyone does than Vito. I'm not sure if Vito knows who Sir Seatsitter is. Like he didn't address him once.
There were a couple times that I wanted to go like, do you know who you're on the phone with right now?
I was very tempted to ask
Oh,
Sir
not the
Seatsitter
phone, the internet.
to like give a rundown of who he is to
He didn't
Vito.
plug himself before he left. Shit.
He only a little bit.
Shitmyass.com.
I told him to, but well, and aside from, because he has shitmyass.com that'll lead you to his Abs in a Six Pack podcast. It's like a weekly show. He brings on random people all the time. We've both been.
He's had Alex Jones on a couple times too.
He's had Alex Jones as a guest
multiple times.
We literally, the only time in my life I've ever done prank calls was on his show, where because it was when the Lightyear trailer had just come out, and we were calling random.
Oh god, that was so fun.
Calling toy stores to ask them if they had Lightyear toys, and like most of them said no, but then we asked them if they had seen the trailer, and like most of them hadn't, but the ones who had all thought it looked like dog shit. It was pretty funny. Hey, Sir Seatsitter still in chat. But like aside from that, he's also a guy who's done like behind the scenes work on other bigger shows. He's like kind of a Riley for other, like a producer, like a dude who brings people into stuff, you know, like. And I legitimately, from the tenor of that conversation, I don't think Vito knows who he is, and he should, because they've been in the same circles. It's like, it's weird to me to like be comfortably posting in a Twitter group DM chat like about what you're doing with people who you don't really know who they are. You know, like my comments on comments chat, I put a bunch of people in there who I know didn't know who the other people were. I don't know how much they've investigated one another. A bunch of them probably not, but they also don't really like comfortably post in there the way I do. Because I'm like, I know who all of you are. I trust all of you. That's why you're all in here. You know, like at the very least, I'm not going to say anything in here I don't trust you guys with. But like, to me, it would be weird if someone like Vito was like, you know, like popping in there and saying something and communicating with people. Like he said he didn't know who Max was at all. He did not know who Maxwell Kimball was.
That is strange. Maxwell Kimball is one of the most iconic people in, I mean, the biggest problem in the universe lore, the Dick Show lore. Actually, I don't know about
sorry, Berserk Chip with $5. Riley, I'm going to show up to your house. Vito, shower first. Boom. It could have been that easy. Exactly. Thank you. Not just for the $5, but that is, you encapsulated this entirely. That's even better than ignoring it. Even better. Shower first.
Stop complaining or complain funnier.
Literally, like one of the mottos of the aside from ABC always be trolling. It's one of Dick's mottos.
Fuck.
Why did I open up Twitter? I feel like I opened this to show something, and now I'm worried I'm gonna accidentally end up showing my DMs or something.
Whoa, are you gonna accidentally dox Mint Salad's phone number like Vito Giswaldi may or may not have
Who
done?
is Riley and why is Vito in trouble? Says Taylor from PKA.
That was pretty funny.
Vito says he's staying home on Friday and not doing the show because he's afraid of what Riley might do.
He said that, yes.
I don't know if he just means on this show or if he means that he said it again afterwards. 'cause
He definitely said it on this show.
He definitely did, but I'm just saying he might have reaffirmed that. It sounded like he was going to go try to discuss with Dick his intent.
He was going to try and get the person who won't take a phone call with him on a phone call, which is an amazing idea.
Ellen says, Twitter, sorry, Brazilians. I know how much it hurts. I'm not even laughing about it. It's fucked up. I hate this website. I hate what's happening. I hate that half my fucking audience is Brazilian. Brazilian Miku is the best thing that ever happened to Twitter, and that immediately preceded its removal. So that's
what happened because Brazil was getting removed from Twitter.
No, I don't think so. Did it? I thought Brazilian Miku was just totally incidental to that. Just like an artist drew Brazilian Miku and everybody liked it, so they copied it. And then like somehow nobody had thought to make Miku like tan and curly haired yet, and it exploded. And then people drew her from every country, and then as every different thing imaginable, which honestly, a lot of that was more treading old ground. Like drawing Miku as like bread or whatever, that had already happened. Drawing her as every country. Anyway, enough about Miku. My entire audience is on Twitter, so I can't leave, says Berserk Chip. I mean, yeah, it sucks. I'm just like, well, my argument, I talk about this in my my magazine. Should I share another page from my magazine? I don't want to give away too much of it for free because I don't want people to pay for it to feel bad. No, the first one.
No, absolutely not.
Okay. Well, there's a page in it about Twitter and just how much I hate Elon Musk because of the fact that I made my account a year before him. And so, like, for me, it's like, this is just a place I was hanging out that had a culture. It had its own thing going on. And then, like, it's like, imagine a newbie, like some new person shows up on your forum and then just because they have lots of money, like buys it out and changes the culture. It's like, that is literal colonization. It is cultural colonization. And like, I don't want to be like, act like it's a huge deal on like a global sense, but it kind of is in terms of how it affects like global culture. Like that's why he bought it. It's because it is important. He bought it because it is an effective cultural machine, and it's a place where someone like me had somewhat of an established power base that is being chipped away at because I can't say cis anymore. I can't say cracker anymore. I can't say faggot anymore. And I take dick.
It's like Ruth Bader Ginsburg said, the pendulum is going to swing way further back the other way. Or whatever the hell that old crazy bat said.
Where the faggot's going to be the only phrase that comes out of my mouth for like 10 years at some point. Like the second that I can do it and monetize it, I'm going to... Melody Mac is going to be looking at me like...
oh, you wrote a banger song about her. Can we hear
it? Yeah. Faggot, Melanie Mac. Faggot, Melanie Mac. Faggot, Melanie Mac. Faggot, Melanie Mac. Yeah. No,
I was actually literally woken up too by one day by Beatrice going like, "Hey, listen to this new song I wrote." And
you won't believe how much of an earworm that is, because you got to imagine.
No, it fucked with me for the rest of the day.
You got to imagine it with like that 99 Left Balloons bass line behind it, like the beep boop beep 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 beep, like faggot, Melody Mac, faggot, Melody Mac. Like, oh, it's so fucking addictive. Y'all are all gonna have that in your head. I'm allowed to say it.
Why?
I'll suck Bird's dick right now just to prove it.
Maybe not. Maybe you won't.
No, not without like a $300 super chat at least. But you're only getting
on. And not on YouTube.
We're not allowed to do that. So Cedar with $2 says, "Love y'all." And that Melanie Mac song was dynamite. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Can I cover that song? Absolutely. Please, please.
Who's
I've been
asking you to
trying to
cover the
spread this
song?
meme by any means necessary.
Oh, Mo?
Faggot,
Yes, Mo, I want to hear your
faggot,
fucking
faggot,
cover of
faggot,
that.
Melanie Mac, faggot, Melanie Mac. She deserves some kind of like. Well, see, that's the thing. I want to get into like a competition with her to get into the Guinness Book of World Record for saying faggot the most. I think that would be a fun like contest she and I could do together.
What do you mean together? She hates transgender women.
Together conceptually, you know, like we don't have to be
Okay.
being paid through the same source, but as long as we're both monetizing it somehow, it would be in a sense together.
What is the
That's
Guinness
how I
World
view it.
Record you'd be going for exactly?
Who could say faggot the most times ever? Like recorded.
What does that mean? I mean, I guess you could.
We'll just play the MSI song "Faggot" on repeat, and we'll have to just sing along to it for see who can
Oh,
do it.
you'd be fighting against Jimmy Urine for that. How many times do you think Jimmy Urine has said the F slur?
Well, he bleeps it now. Like I don't think he says it
That
live.
doesn't mean he's not saying it. And also, how many times do you think Jimmy Urine has just said the F slur outside of a lyric? I bet it's a lot.
That's true. That might be true. Somebody's got to have that fucking Catboy Cammy's probably already said every slur more times than anybody ever did. Is that guy still alive?
Probably. What do you mean? I don't know. Do you think I
Seemed
keep
like
up
the kind of guy who
Catboy
would like
Cam?
do a shitload of like ketamine and die or something. Like he seemed like the kind of guy.
What's
like,
wrong with doing a shitload of ketamine?
Speed crash or something. I don't know. Chat, it feels like chat had no difficulty understanding the point I was making at all because nobody has had any further questions, whereas Vito didn't understand any of it.
Well, I don't understand why people don't understand that I want them to stay off my property. Well,
Mr. Banks said you
we
should
all
press him when
understand
not
that actually,
interacting.
Vito.
I feel like I told him not to interact as many times as he said not to come onto his fucking property. Like I think I said it 12 times. I even brought up the fact that Tony said it 3 times.
That's the problem I had listening to the end of this week's Dick show. It was still enjoyable, but it was just fucking same thing over and over and over again because it's really hard to. I mean, you can't make ground with Vito.
No,
there's not. He's right in his mind.
He doesn't
he's right.
want to listen. I hope he kind of. Sometimes you say something to him and he kind of gets stopped up because he like must just know it's true and he doesn't really have a good defense and he
almost thinks.
Yeah, and that I could tell that was happening when I accused him of like he goes into interactions like expecting to have to fight against it instead of expecting it to make sense. And like I have this problem with everybody sometimes. Everybody does this sometimes, including me, I'm sure, where like someone says something to you and your instinct is to fight against it because you don't immediately get it. But like oftentimes if you think about it for 1 second, you'll make the logical leap and go, oh, actually, this must be what you meant. You know? Like, for instance, let's say I pointed over and I said, hand me that, right? And you look
I'm
over,
in a different room. Why would I hand you something?
Like if I'm trying to do this in a visual way. So if you're just listening, I'm pointing over across the room and I'm going like, hand me that, right? And if somebody was over there, they would have to follow my finger and like try to determine what they think I'm pointing at, right? And like you could like get upset. You could be like, I don't know what that is. Or you could be questioning like, well, what do you mean? You know, what do you mean by that? Or even you could just simply stare for a second and think about like, well, what does this person want and what is over here that they would want? If I look and I see that your drink is over there, I'm going to immediately assume that's what you want and give it to you.
Why do you have my drink in your room?
Vito starts from a position of like, I don't know what you're pointing at, and he doesn't look. Like that would be his response. Like if I said, could you hand me that? Before he would look, he would go, what? And he might not even start turning around. He might out of curiosity, but not because he's trying to be helpful. He just wants to know what it might be, you know, but like not before he's already asked you, hoping that you will expedite the process for him on his way. I hope this analogy makes sense.
It doesn't, and so I'm gonna leave this call and make myself food.
Well, you're too hungry brain to understand.
No, I'm too drunky brain.
Too drunky brain. That's fine.
Yeah.
Chat, do you understand what I'm talking about? Does this make
Chat
sense?
gets
to you?
it. Chat is way smarter than I am.
Like, I'm the type of person who, if you tell me, grab me that, and I look, and I don't immediately know what you mean, I'll, like, sit there and try to figure it out. You know, like, I will look at it, and I'll be like, and maybe I'll even reach for the wrong thing. You know, I'll try to suss it. I'll be like, but I'm trying to work with you. I'm not trying to make you do extra work, you know, on the way to it. Maybe that's a bad example because that person's asking me for a favor as opposed to me, like, I don't know. I always get lost in the metaphors. I like to torture metaphors. That's my thing. It's definitely going to be on my grave, is going to say, I don't know why I kept torturing that metaphor. Actually, I would like to be buried in Mount Trashmore. I don't know if they'll do that, but I think that would be sick. So this is my official will. Bury me in Mount Trashmore. If I should die in a way where enough of me is preserved to be buried. If you don't know what Mount Trashmore is, look it up. It's basically a landfill that was turned into a park that is a popular place to hang out in Virginia Beach. You can fly kites. I'll get flied kited on if I become a fucking part of the mountain of trash. Probably not legal, though. They probably won't do it. Unless I become really famous as like a Virginia Beach staple. And then they have to, because I told them to. That's me fantasizing about accumulating so much social power that I can make unreasonable demands of the populace. So I do relate to that aspect of what Vito's saying. I just don't think that's like a good thing I'm doing. You know? I think it's me being like an evil, scheming psychopath. Vito's coming from the standpoint not that he's the main character, but that he is the only character. Trixie the wine mom. This actually is beer, but it does taste more like wine. The joke here is that because did Ben ever grow balls to get on the call? No. Bird ended up banning Ben from chat after I screamed at him because he wasn't getting on the call and was refusing to. But there's no way he would. I mean, it would be as simple as him getting in contact with me and saying, give me that link. And he's not going to do that because he knows I'm making money and I wouldn't give it to him. And he's not going to do a show that makes me money and doesn't make money for him, which is understandable. But that's why. That's why he's not going to do it. He would not make me money in a way that wasn't going to make him money. Yeah, the reason he popped up and didn't understand what was happening is because he's the same type of person as Vito. And it's especially hilarious because I originally planned, I spent like most of today trying to make a vlog about the subject that I was trying to talk about in this video. I'm not going to act like this is something that was easy to do. And that's why like I had gotten myself prepared to do it through responding to comments, not thinking Vito actually would call it. And so when he did, I had to get really drunk before I was really prepared to actually handle talking to him. Because he's so fucking difficult. And like, again, he gets hung up in all the particulars. And I was trying to talk about the broad spectrum of his behavior. And that like, even though 700,000 people have told him he acts this way, he hasn't acknowledged it at all. So he doesn't understand it. So it's hard to unpack for him. Ben is the Maddox of this channel. What did you say?
Sorry.
I don't need to have headphones on. I don't know why I'm doing
This is
that.
really strange fucking beer.
I've just been wearing these headphones for like, oh wait, I did need them when you were away. But it is very, very strange. It tastes like sour raspberry.
I like it. They have
It's
like
not bad.
3 other versions of the same thing.
Neat. Oh, I didn't even hold it up. I was trying to show that the joke for those who missed it is that it's Lolita because we had Vito on.
And because they had you on.
Shh. I have nothing to do with Lolita's. It's all Vito's thing. It's his. I have not read Lolita. I do know the first line of it though, because it's famous. Because he says, "Light of my life."
Was the best of times or was the worst?
No, light of my life, fire of my loins.
Ew.
Yeah, it's a really funny line. I assume Lolita's like a dark comedy about being a real piece of shit or something. I don't know. Just based on that line. That is Ben Saint's favorite book also. You know, so take that how you want to.
I can't believe this is the time Ben decided to show Echo.
Yeah, the point I was making is that in that vlog I was filming, I was going to compare Vito and Ben and Mother's Basement, but in different ways. I was more focused on MB than Ben because Ben is not a clout-chasing social climber. He's just a money-grubbing dipshit asshole, you know? But he is like, he shares with me a trait that is the opposite of what I'm accusing Vito of, which is that he wants to work with people that like he likes their stuff and like likes who they are. And I respect Vito saying that he wants to work with people that he thinks will make good content with him. I just think that it's weird to think that somebody can make good content with you and then not like investigate what they do at all. Not even like the littlest bit of curiosity about what they do, or like, you know, or even just assuming that that you would enjoy the content. Like if you enjoy working with them, why wouldn't you like their content? I would think so. I guess there's a few people who I like working with more than I like their content or hanging out with even, you know, but I don't know. Like seeing him act that way made me realize that I knew everybody's content better than I thought I did. Like I have felt guilty at times for like not watching more Hack the Movies because I do think the content is good, but he doesn't really talk about a lot of movies I care about because I don't care about that many movies, you know? But like every time I watch one, I have a good time. But like Vito talks about it like not only have I never seen it, but it sucks. And it's
on the alternative hand, I've seen all of Hack the Movies. I've seen every single episode.
I don't believe you.
I would never not watch my
well, and okay, actually, I'm glad we brought up Tony.
The best YouTuber. The best YouTuber.
I have to figure out from Tony if there's some way, because he's not beholden to the same rules he was when he like scrubbed all his old content off the internet. I hope there's some way he can get it all back, because this is how I'm used to interactions with people from the internet going, is you meet them and they usually show you all of their content. Vito, when we met him, showed us a bunch of other weird YouTube shit that no one enjoyed and kept begging him to stop for like an hour.
I really enjoyed
the very last one, that was the last thing he showed us. Yes. And it was only so funny because, okay, did we tell this story ever about like right after Biggest Problem when I was on as a guest, when I ruined the show, we all went upstairs and for like almost a fucking hour, Vito just kept showing us these like bizarre gambling videos. And like he kept showing us, at first it was like the coin machines where like you put in a quarter and it's trying to push all the quarters down into the hole. But people build these like big elaborate like structures inside the coin pusher, and then they film videos of just like the game going for tens of minutes. And it's like not only is it mind-numbing to even play this game, but like you're watching someone play the game. Faked, yes, staged. Obviously staged.
There's like 18 gold bars stacked up in a weird cylindrical thing. There's no fucking place on earth that you can play that game.
Yeah,
with
no
those prizes.
And the whole time he's showing it to us, he just keeps. Yeah, we are still gonna finish that Johnny Rockets article. Thanks for reminding me, Clippo. Because he did distract us. Yeah, he just showed up in chat. That was why I had opened up Twitter. You just reminded me literally why I had opened up Twitter was to get back to that article, and I fucking got so distracted. Every time I open Twitter, I totally forget why I'm there immediately, because whatever I see becomes my world. Like that moment, the second it enters the screen. But fuck, what was I saying? What was I just talking about?
Reminding you what you wrote.
No, before that, goddammit. That's what distracted me from what I had been talking about. Oh yeah, him talking about the fucking gambling videos that he was showing us, the fucking weird ass coin machine videos, and the whole time he kept talking about how easy it is to do, and like, he just.
I might set this up.
Yeah, well, he was making it out like he was upset that this type of content exists and gets all these views, and we're like, none of us have to worry about that because we would never have known this existed if you weren't making us watch it right now.
Well, hey, Vito doesn't actually watch those videos.
He kept insisting he doesn't really watch them. He just wanted to show them to us. But then he played us like 5 or 6 of them. And like, we were, yeah, we get it. We know what this is. And we kept saying that. And he just kept playing them. No, it's like, well, this is just what you watch, right? This is just what you want to do right now is watch this type of content because it's comforting to you because you just had a show and you're trying to come down from it. And so like, you could say all that. We would understand.
But look, you guys aren't getting it. Look at this video that has a different perspective on.
This is what convinced me he was a gambling addict also. So he just kept playing him. And then eventually he played this one. Video, though. The last one is like 20 minutes of this like guy and woman.
That weird TikTok thing where you have a big glass and you're filling.
Can you like sit up if you're going to talk this much? Because it's not the type of microphone that just picks up the whole room at equal volume. Come up here. There's a chair. You could use the chair.
I will shut up.
Bird refuses to do broadcasting. He just wants to lay. It's easier to tell the story with your help. I just wish you would do it directly into the microphone. Yeah, no, we know they're all fake. That we kept telling him that over and over and over again. The last video he showed us was like one that he was describing as fake, because he was like, well, what's funny about this is they keep acting like they're about to be done pouring this frosting, but it just keeps going for like 20 minutes. They keep being like, and we're at another level.
And here it
and
goes.
We're getting close. Yeah, this is really looking alive. And it's literally just like blue balling for 20 minutes. And like, he managed to present that in a way that made it really funny. And like, that was almost like he made it out like that was what he had been doing to us through showing us all this shit that we've been bitching about for 30 minutes was like, oh, I was just blue balling you like this video. And I was like, okay, I can accept this as like a bit kind of, but it wasn't a bit. That's just what he wanted to do. He just wanted to watch those videos. It's comforting for him. It's a good way to come down after doing a show as a person who's trying to not gamble in a literal way, but only through weird conceptual abstract means. You have a job interview in the morning, but you're not even slightly sleepy. What do? How in the morning? 3 hours of sleep will be fine. You just got to power nap. Set an alarm for like an hour beforehand so that you have a half an hour of leeway to snooze yourself. But yeah, like what I was going to say about Tony, like when we hung out with him the first time, he showed us all these fucking hilarious old videos he'd made that he
hacked the movies.
Tony.
Yes, there's 2 of them.
2 hack the movies?
2 Tonys.
Oh, okay. I just said Tony. Yeah, Tony from Hack the Movies, when we hung out with them, he showed us all these old videos he had that were all fucking hilarious, you know, and like every time he saw us think they were funny, he shows us more, and we're like, this is great. I'm enjoying the experience of getting to watch this great content you made. It's endearing to me. It's endearing me to you as a person that you made all this great content. I think you're cool because you've done this. It makes me want to work with you on great content like this, you know, like that's what meeting a creator is to me. When I met Riley, it was like he showed me his raps. I showed him my raps. We started rapping together. We started making, you know, like content together. I knew his Dick Show appearances. He knew my Dick Show appearances. He started on his way to my house. He binged like all of the After Dark channel just on the basis of, well, if I'm going to meet this person, I want to know what their content's like. I want to know who they are. I want to know what they're about. And again, Vito has like people he's in group chats with for the last 5 fucking years, and he doesn't know who they are. He doesn't know who Maxwell Kimball is. And like, granted, Maxwell Kimball hasn't been like a character on the Dick Show in a very long time, but he's been in all of the communities. If you asked the average like longtime Dick Show fan if they know who he is, they would absolutely say yes. So it's weird to me that he doesn't feel like the odd man out for not knowing what's going on, for not being curious about what's going on, you know? And it's because he views these people as incidental. He views them as like, well, they're not important. They're not the big famous people I need to be, you know, cajoling to. When Ethan Van Sciver told him that he needed to like apologize to everyone, Vito started apologizing to him, the person who needed it the least, the person who was telling him that everyone else needed it. And he started apologizing to him. It's like, no, this isn't about me. I'm fine. You know, like the big people don't need you. It's the small people who you keep treading underfoot because you treat them as small people. But usually there's more to it. Like the numbers don't tell the whole story. Like Vito has treated me with more respect because my numbers are big. I know that because he admits that he doesn't really watch my content or really understand it. Like, and granted, he might work with me because he thinks I'm a good broadcaster, and that's true and fair. But like, it's weird to me to think that you wouldn't, if you thought I was a good broadcaster, then go want to hear my stuff. You know, like why, if you think I'm good, would you not want to hear my stuff? You know, unless you don't really think it's good, or you're not really interested, or you're only interested insofar as it helps you with your show being good. You're not interested in what you might be able to involve yourself with me further beyond that, you know, in any way, shape, or form. And it's because in his show, he has all the power. If I'm a guest on his show, he's in charge. You know, if I'm a part of the universe of the show where he's one of the co-hosts, he's in charge. And he literally said, like, well, don't you think the host of the show should have like an above rank on everybody else? And I'm like, well, sure, but you can't treat it like they're your friends also. You know, you have to be like I'm being authoritative and I'm in charge and I'm the boss and I'm the bad man, you know? And like Dick does do that. Dick's like, yeah, I ban people with impunity. I block people with impunity on Twitter in particular, you know, because like I've made my boundaries clear, and if you cross them, you're dead. And like he's not trying to then like keep talking to those people and like woo them back to his side or whatever. It's like, it's crazy to me that he didn't just like block Riley, right? Like we all agree that that's like the mentally sane, healthy decision. It's what Tony told him to do. It's what I told him to do. It's what Dick told him to do explicitly and multiple times. Is even on a legal level. Like on a legal level, if you're threatening to sue or you're threatening any of the stuff that you're threatening on Riley, you have to prove that you thought it was a threat, and continuing to try to like have dinner with a guy means you don't think it's a threat. It means you think that that's your friend and you think this is a bit, or that this can be quelled or whatever, and that it's not serious. Like, it's the constant trying to have the cake and eat it too. That's his whole life, is he just wants two cakes. There is only one cake and he wants two, and he will not stop stomping his foot until he gets that second cake. All right. This is around where we stopped reading before. We didn't get very far in before Vito got upset about how one-sided this is. I don't know why he thought I was going to like, I think he thought I was going to read through this and let him like refute each thing by being more specific about it. But like the point of this is to be a funny, quick little recap. Nothing in this is inaccurate. It might be phrased in a way that he has a problem with, but it's the story. You're not going to get the wrong idea based on reading this. I know Vito disagrees with that, and you can disagree with that if you think so too. But like honestly, if you don't do your own research, then I don't fucking respect your opinion in the first place. I know this stuff is accurate based on my experience, and I definitely know more of what's going on than anybody else, besides the people directly involved. Okay, it was right here. Vito misinterprets Mint more on episode 155, The Biggest Problem. Oh, no, we got through pouring pig's blood in Vito's car. Vito reveals he started recording the calls. It's unclear when. This is So unclear. The reason it's unclear is because Vito says at the start of the second call, well, I recorded the entire call too. And then on Frog Tony's show, when we accosted him about this last night, he said, well, I only started recording after the threats were made. And then he could not prove that. And so he quit doing the show. Riley reveals he and Mint were recording the whole time. You know, they make videos about messing with people. Third call, Vito says if they don't stop, he will send the calls /tweets /Discord messages to Texas police, so Riley will go to jail. This is extortion. I'm calling the I'm calling the authorities. It's a cute little Porky Pig version of Vito calling the police. Riley releases the calls on YouTube the morning of 9/8/24. It's over 26 minutes. Before the release, Vito spammed chats about how fucked up Riley coming to his house is. EVS left the chat because he found Vito's messages disturbing. Full disclosure, I did hear these calls before they went live. I knew that this was going to happen. And I heard the calls, and my reaction was the same as it was after they were released, which is, wow, Vito, you really are handling that very poorly. Because there's just so much he keeps ignoring when he talks about it. He keeps saying, like, a guy called me up shouting and threatening me. But, like, at one point in the call, he says, well, you're clearly upset. And Riley says, I'm not, or you're clearly angry. And Riley says, I'm not angry. This isn't how I sound when I'm angry. And Vito just doesn't believe him. He won't acknowledge that Riley's telling him how he feels. He's saying, I'm not angry. This is not how I sound angry. And I know that to be true. But, like, Vito just assumes it's not because he doesn't conceive of how it could be. He's like, well, a person yelling must be angry. But, like, that's what Riley does. It's his fucking bit. It's the fucking Gilbert Gottfried's not angry when he yells. Like, I wasn't angry when I did my Riley voice. I was having a great time yelling at Vito in that moment. I actually felt kind of euphoric, if you will. So, like, yeah, like, he just didn't take Riley seriously when he said that. Riley says, like, I'm not angry. And Vito's like, well, yes, you are. And therefore, Vito kept escalating it. Like, he kept making bigger and bigger threats. And, like, Riley's making the same joke over and over again. But Vito's taking it more and more seriously. And, like, from the perspective of anybody who gets the joke from the outside is looking at it like, so Riley is just, like, making hollow nothing threats over and over, but, like, they sound a little bit more severe each time, so you're taking it a little bit more seriously each time, but that doesn't make any, they're all the same, it's the same joke over and over again. Koof with $2 says, we streamed the call in the BP Minecraft server. Oh, neat. Like when it came out, or when it was, like, how? Vito wouldn't be thinking about bits during a supposedly private phone call. I think he would if he understands. Again, Riley says he's not angry. Like, that's the part that bothers me about this, is that he ignores Riley saying that. He just decides it can't be true. And, like, if you go back and listen to the call again, keep in mind everything Vito has said on these last 2 nights worth of shows, and then go listen to the call again and think about what he is saying happened in that call versus what happens. Because what happens is Mint's mad and Riley's yelling in the background, I'm going to come to your house. The first thing Riley says is, I'm going to commit a series of escalating crimes that I won't be prosecuted for in the state of California, which, as I pointed out on this stream, is an oxymoron, doesn't make sense. That makes it a joke. That's what makes it funny. That's why I laughed when I heard it the first time. I thought, oh, series of crimes that you won't be prosecuted for, that makes them not crimes. That's hilarious. And then he says, get ready for property damage and theft, which is such a hilariously weird, specific, odd, esoteric type of a threat. It's funny. To me, obvious. And he doesn't even sound angry. He sounds goofy. He sounds like he's trying to think of a funny way to say it, you know. Mint was definitely legitimately angry. Riley was just being ridiculous. And then the next thing Riley says is, I'm going to pour pig's blood through the cracks of your car so that the interior of your car gets all covered in pig's blood. Now, aside from the absurdity, we all pointed out where you get pig's blood. You can't pour liquid through the cracks of the fucking car. Otherwise, everyone's car would be full of rain all the time. The car is vacuum sealed. It's not even a thing you can do. Unless he's got like literal cracks in his car, like the roof is broken. Moreover, the specificity, the joke there is that it would not be that hard to like clean the exterior of your car. So if he just said, I'm going to pour pig's blood on your car, it wouldn't be far enough. So he had to take it to like this fantastical extra realm to make it really obvious that it's a joke. That was the threats. I'm going to commit a series of escalating crimes. Get ready for I won't be prosecuted for in the state of California. Get ready for property damage and theft. I'm going to take pig's blood and pour it through the cracks of your car and ruin your interior. Those were all of the threats, other than I'm coming to your house if you don't refund me, that Riley made before Vito said, I'm going to submit these calls to your existing court case to ensure you go to jail. And Vito's saying he just said that as an empty threat, but like, how am I supposed to not take Vito seriously when he says that, but I have to take Riley seriously about what he's yelling, even though Riley's telling me he's joking while doing it? Riley is saying, I'm not angry. This isn't what anger sounds like. Why am I supposed to not take him seriously? And then also, but like, but Vito saying that he's going to call the fucking police, I'm supposed to somehow recognize as an empty threat or take that less seriously than what Riley said. That's nuts. Okay. There's, of course, Maddox. I'm calling the police. Dick and Vito argue about the situation on the Dick Show episode 426, now titled Dick on Oinkomania, recorded at 8:24 in the afternoon. The debate starts with Frog Tony mad at Vito for shitting on his progress, on his in-progress comic. Vito, the night before, was arguing with Riley about comics. Vito believes Riley is jealous that Vito is making a comic and Riley isn't. Riley plans on making a comic with Mint in like 10 years. Supposed to happen a lot sooner than that. He says her art style needs to improve. Oh, okay. He's saying because Mint's not going to do Riley's comic until 10 years later because her art style needs to improve first. Okay. So Mint's going to do my comic first, then eventually Riley's. That's how I'm interpreting this anyways. Vito insists that Frog Tony is making a comic so anyone can, so do it right now. He insults Frog Tony's art. I believe Frog Tony did make fun of the Super Killer's art like a month ago. I think Vito... Okay, so to explain this situation, because all this happened in back rooms, and it's hard to explain. Vito has been giving out Super Killer to people, like basically anybody he knows. I mean, I don't know if he actually knows who the fuck Frog Tony is based on the conversations we've had, but he gave him the fucking script. He gave it to me. He gave it to a bunch of people, right? And we all gave our advice and feedback. And at some point, Frog Tony criticized some aspect of the art that Vito took offense to the criticism. And then as a way of trying to prove that Frog Tony's criticism is invalid, said, well, the art for your comic has this and this issue. And he starts posting these images that I assume Tony had privately sent Vito also, because wasn't like shit that had been posted in this group chat before. Like criticizing his art, which by the way is not drawn by Tony. Like he's criticizing Tony's artist and unfinished artwork. In response to Tony criticizing his comic that Vito had asked for criticism on, and like it just was such a weird, like overreaching defensive way of responding to that criticism, and dragging a third party in the same way he does with Mint in this whole conflict, that like he somehow made Riley being upset with him into, well, Mint's channel doesn't get any views, like what the fuck, like why does she have anything to do with this? And Frog Tony was very hurt by this. I think Vito made fun of this comic. First, though, I do remember Vito saying Frog Tony did not know who Frog Tony's artist was. Whenever Vito fights with someone, he brings in someone else. It's weird. Yeah, indeed. Do not come to my house. Vito says he is scared of Riley damaging his private property. He says it a lot, that his house is his private property. Don't fuck with it don't fuck it like a child. Jesus Christ. Sorry for that Vito-style joke. Dick doesn't believe that. He thinks Vito is really scared of fans copying Riley and actually going too far. Riley is obviously joking and would not commit a crime. After Riley visits, some sick freak like Null might mail him a pipe bomb. Dick says, as I tried to explain in today's episode, apartment complexes in their entirety are not the private property of the individual renters. Vito says, I've agreed to not discuss any of this until Friday. That obviously didn't happen. Vito insists visiting his private property and doing something is crossing a line dozens of times. Everyone else says it is clearly a joke. Ethan Ralph, who once got into a fist fight with Riley and Mint, says Riley is joking, and Vito is acting just like Eric July. That not releasing the comic has scrambled Vito's brains. Funnily enough, Ralph sort of broke into Riley/Mint/Trixie's place to defend his then girlfriend's otter. I say sort of because the door was open and the girlfriend claimed they still had some of her stuff. The point is, a guy who literally fist fought, that would make it okay for her to come into the house that we had her stuff. The cops told us to throw it all away. That's why it was all in the yard. That's why they showed up to collect it. The cops said, you have no responsibility for her shit that she left in your house. It's been 6 months. You can just burn it. We don't care. So I was like, fuck, y'all can come get your shit, Anyway, the point is, a guy who literally fist fought Riley says he's a jokester. Who knows? Maybe Vito will laugh about the whole thing too someday. That's a pretty fucking hilarious drawing of Ralph hitting Riley. Bizarrely, Vito's next argument is Riley threatening to go to his house would be, wait, what's the caption there? Autist rendition of Ralph versus Riley. Mint hit Ralph really hard after this. She did hit him 15 times. And then he spit blood in her face. Bizarrely, Vito's next argument is Riley threatening to go to his house would be as bad as Vito threatening to rape Mint. Vito fucks his house, I guess. What is it with him and the rape? He made that argument 5 times with me on here. Or I stopped him from making it a third time after he had done it twice and been called out on it the second time. It is my personal belief that hypotheticals mean the speaker is losing. That's also why that's what makes it so hard to communicate with him, is he keeps positing you hypothetical mind scenarios. And I'm like, well, that didn't happen and it will never happen. So I don't care. I don't care about what decision I would make in a universe that will never exist. Please stop bringing hypotheticals into this. Click here for Riley threatening to rape Matt Barr. As of this writing, Matt has not been raped yet. Why would Riley rape Matt? Because he called Vito a pedophile. Okay, this is going to get a lot harder to interpret. This is somebody, I don't know what they're responding to. This person said, keep in mind, Mr. Vito keeps trying to hide behind, haha, I'm only pretending to be a pedo to make you look stupid, but everyone thought Amos Yee was trolling until he wasn't. No, they didn't. Amos Yee was going around telling people he's a pedophile. Vito File says, I'm not joking, hide your children because I am coming for them. I cannot stop myself. Yeah, that's an obvious joke. Vito threatening to rape kids, supposedly he never did, and this is a joke. Yeah, no, that's an obvious joke. The angriest, in the same way, this is an obvious joke for the exact same reason that everything Riley's doing is an obvious joke. That's why Vito's not allowed to pretend he doesn't get the joke. That's why Dick is saying he's lying. This is why Dick is saying that Vito is lying and just wants to win. Is because he has said shit like this. The angriest lawyer says Vito's inability to grasp someone saying, I will violate the boundary of the property you rent is orders of magnitude less severe of a threat than I will sexually violate the orifices of your children. Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Vito says he does not believe Riley is joking. No one would joke about ringing your doorbell. That's fucked up. That's the other thing. I'm like, what the fuck does he think they're going to do? When we asked him, what do you imagine is going to happen? He said, I think they're going to throw money at my house from the yard. So he can go ahead and call the cops and tell them that's what the fucking... Y'all are so edgy, sheesh. Look, that's the universe that this is. It's weird to me. That's... You got to understand, Dean, if I assume you're talking about the fact that he made this fucking joke and that I'm defending it. That's why this is a problem. This is the guy who went to the Netflix protest and held up a sign that said jokes are funny, and Dick got literally assaulted by somebody who was so upset with Dave Chappelle making trans jokes that he attacked them for showing up with a sign that says jokes are funny. Like, this is somebody who has been pointing out the absurdity of pretending you don't get what makes a joke funny, and now he's pretending he doesn't get what makes a joke funny. That's why this is so bad of a look. And it's like the reason that everyone he knows keeps trying to like instruct him on how to fix it is because he won't acknowledge that this is a bad look. He won't acknowledge that this is contradictory to everything that we've all been building here. Is like, no, if you're a free speech absolutist, it's absolute. You don't get to say I'd fuck kids and all of us go, haha, Vito, that's really funny. And then go, oh, but you're not allowed to say, I'm going to come to your house. That's insane for the exact reason just specified here by the angriest lawyer in this tweet. You know, like if we're all going to be doing this whole, we're going to be edgelords thing. You don't get to draw lines. You don't get to pick where the lines are. You have to. When he was saying like, I don't want to be on YouTube anymore, I was like, that would be responsible. That would be responsible. When Riley said delete your channels, that was him trying to save this motherfucker. He was like, oh, if you really want to quit YouTube, delete your channels. That'll get you off. But he doesn't mean it. He's not being serious. Vito says he does not believe Riley is joking. No one would joke about ringing your doorbell. It's fucked up. Vito plans on getting a restraining order. Dick, who has gotten a restraining order on a crazy person, says you cannot get a restraining order on someone you continue to publicly insult and owe money to. Exactly. And especially not somebody you keep making dinner dates with and refusing to block when people tell you it's a good idea to block them, and engaging with at all when people tell you shouldn't engage with them. All things that the legal question, the judges and the lawyers are going to ask the same questions we're all asking, you know. Also, it was illegal for Vito to record the calls in California. It is a two-party consent state. It is not illegal to record in Kentucky, where Mint and Riley live. One-party consent state. Vito, renowned legal expert, argues it is okay to record someone without their permission if they are committing a crime. Vito did not know they would threaten him when they hit record. When he hit record, Vito is currently guilty of a crime caused by Riley's bit. Now, Vito is claiming he didn't hit record until after the threat was made, but he can't prove this because he won't show the original recording. He refuses, under any circumstances, even total exoneration of this accusation. He will not show the original footage, causing everybody to think he committed a crime. He claims that it might not be a crime because he thought they would threaten him, but it even specifies it has to be like physical violence. There was nothing implying that would happen. Like it's just totally asinine. He has no legal standing in this whole little thing he tried to do here. And it looks really bad that he even tried. Face of victory. There you go. Vito seems to think he can convince the cops and a judge that a friend/employee is a crazy fan. Towards the end of the episode, yeah, that worked so well for Maddox. Towards the end of the episode, Vito dares Riley to come on his property. That's another thing. He says multiple times in the call, all right, do that then. Like he keeps saying it like he's being dismissive, and he thinks that somehow is less admissible than everything else he said. Like, again, having the cake and eating it too. He's obsessed with having two cakes. He can never just have one cake. Can't live in a one cake reality. He's got to see two. Everywhere there's one cake, he sees two. And he's got to eat that second cake. But that second cake doesn't exist. So he's just eating, he's just like probably eating a table. Like he's just putting more mass in his body. Whatever the second cake is, it's definitely even less edible than the first one. It's even less of sustenance. Because it's not real. It's not a cake. It's something other than a cake. I'm sorry what I'm doing to this metaphor. This double kills whatever case Vito thinks he has. Dick asks why Vito thinks he is winning if people like EVS, a legend, are abandoning him. Vito thinks he has not explained it well enough, or people like Riley too much. Dick says he will no longer answer phone calls from Vito over the secret recording. Dick tells Riley to call into the show. Riley says he will respond to Vito another way. Andy says it's all funny until someone who threatens to show up to your house actually does. Vito may be a pussy, but I would have done the same thing. That's a very bad look, Andy. I guess I'll be the buzzkill and die on the hill of not supporting Give me $600 or I'll do criminal debts as jokes. Dick says the problem is Vito knows Riley very well, which on this show, Riley, he claimed he doesn't. He's like, I don't know Riley at all. I only met 3 times. What the fuck ever. Again, we all are in the same group chats that they're in all the time. Riley and Mint and Vito have been in the same text conversations all the time for 5 years. So acting like he doesn't know him when he doesn't have anybody else he knows better than that. Like Vito literally said on last night's stream that he doesn't have any IRL friends, that all of his social connections are through the internet. That means that we see all of the socialization he does. And 99% of that is just the biggest problem. He doesn't do a shitload of other shows. He used to have Monday Night Grift. That's how he put together this friend group. He hasn't done that show in 3 fucking years. So it's not talking to anybody. That's why he doesn't understand how people work, because he doesn't talk to them or acknowledge them. Anyway, Vito knows Riley very well and has been defending his shtick for months until now. Vito is also constantly fighting with Riley exactly like this. This morning, they're arguing about sneaking down the chimney and stealing cats and other name calling. It's totally retarded. Logistically, it's very difficult to draw the line between private and public property at an apartment complex, which he has said it's not. I guess it's like a house that he just owns a room in, or not owns, but like rents a room in, or pays part of the rent. That's probably not even like a conventional rental agreement. Maybe that's what he's worried about, people finding out. I don't know. If I was worried about someone coming to my apartment or house, I'd tell them not to and block them. The law requires it. The $600 is a reference to a refund Vito promised everyone over Super Killer, but now he refuses to refund. Unless that's also shtick, I can't tell anymore. So yeah, that's a big part of this he keeps blowing off. Every time something really serious gets brought up, you'll notice Vito will completely ignore it, and he'll keep making you talk about the thing he wants to talk about, which is why it's so much easier to talk about the shit behind his back, and why I was so frustrated that I had to actually talk to him tonight, because it was already frustrating enough doing it last night. But fucking, it's funny to think that I'm like, I know my show is better, but it was deeply infuriating as compared to how it could have been. Jesus fucking Christ. This is the dumbest controversy I've ever seen. But it really is that he just won't listen. But yeah, he said many times that he would refund anybody who wanted a refund for Super Killer. Like a bunch of times he said that. Frog Tony played some clips of him having said it on his show tonight. But like, he said it a bunch of times, and now he's like refusing it to multiple people. The evening of 9/8/24, Vito appears on Frog Tony's stream. The panel has 9 people at any given time, where they all want Vito to realize Riley is joking and stop freaking out. EVS repeats himself. Riley is joking, and Vito is acting like Eric July. Vito's behavior appears to come across as mental illness to EVS. Also, EVS asks why Vito refused to fix Super Killer art the ripoff verse made and refused to hire him to fix all of it. Vito says it is because it would be disrespectful to his artist. Super Killer was supposed to be delivered on December 2023. Tony from Hack the Movies begs Vito to just stop responding. Vito does not follow this sage advice. Trixie, friend of Vito and Riley, leads the interrogation. The panel demands Vito pay Mint. He does. It's like pulling teeth. Then he accidentally doxes Mint's phone number. I forgot about that. The show that she called him that fateful night. He did not call her first was the important point he was trying to make. Vito asks for the stream to be taken down and edited to undo the docs. Can't put the shit back in the hog. Frog Tony refuses. Trixie thinks Vito just wants the mistake gone, not necessarily the docs. Riley texts Frog Tony that now he is going to California for real. He also texted Frog Tony, do not take the stream down. I will be very upset. Trixie asks how Vito recorded the call. Vito says he recorded the phone call with a webcam, not a phone app, meaning there is a video. Frog Tony and Trixie demand to see Vito's recording. Vito asks for time to export only the audio. It takes several minutes. Frog Tony and Trixie suspect he edited the audio to make himself look better. The audio file on Frog Tony's stream shows it's only 9 minutes. I didn't even notice that, but yeah, the full video should have been 12 minutes long. They do not play the audio. They demand the unedited video. Vito leaves. It should be noted that the biggest problem, Reddit supports Vito. Yeah, because they're Redditors. They're literally like, they don't know how to function in normal society at all. Vito defends his property made by Mr. Abstruse, a proud gay man, demanding credit for this meme. Shout out, Mr. Abstruse. I know you were in here earlier. The fight is still going on. Here's Vito saying, stay on the street, retard. Riley says, no, I will take the charge. You can't stop me. Vito says, he finally says no. Thank you. Koof says, Vito, were you the one that posted Friday's show link on Thursday? Vito fan says that gifts suck. Riley says, I will not stay on the street. I will climb into the chimney and fuck your eye holes while you snore. Vito says, ha 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 ha. Riley says, and I'm stealing at least one cat. It's still really just funny jokes. Like, where does this start sounding threatening to someone? Later today, Riley, I will be breaking into your home Friday. If you go to Dick's house, you won't be able to stop me and do the show. Vito says, I know you need to impress Dick, so good luck. How would that impress Dick, fucking up his show? You, Vito, all you have to do is go on the show, and none of that would happen. You're going to ensure by not going on the show that they have to show up to your house. This is so retarded. Again, if Vito goes to the biggest problem, Riley and Mint can easily just go fucking record a random alley and say it's Vito's house. Like, Vito has no way of... If he's at home, they gotta go to his house. Like, he just doesn't get it. Anyway, Vito says, I know you need to impress Dick, so good luck. Vito says, you don't have a real dad in your life? Oh, okay. You need to impress Dick because you don't have a real dad in your life. That's a real weird thing to say. Riley says, your move. Invictus says that gives him plenty of time to clean the place up. Balder, biggest problem fan, says neither do you about the real dad thing, which is true. Vito's dad is dead. Riley's dad is actually alive, too, is the funny thing about that. Vito says, okay, no show on Friday because of Riley. Totally real threats. They are jealous. Riley wants to be me. More great jokes from the comedy mastermind. Oh, but Vito, you respond. That's the joke because you respond and tell him to stay off your property. Wow, what a bit. Riley having said, I'll be breaking into your home on Friday if you go to Dick's. Okay, yeah, same thing. So Vito still responded. Saint Tony must be weeping. Personally, I only see two explanations for Vito's behavior. One, Vito is a control freak. That's essentially what I was trying to say here. I had my own weird little way of saying it, but however, he's also a punching bag on his super successful show. He can't abandon the show, but he needs a space where he is king. A guy making fun of him in his special place is too much. Nowhere is safe from jokes. That's actually a really astute observation in general. The world's not a safe fucking place. You don't just get to be safe. You have to change. You have to change to suit the needs of the society around you, or it will terminate you. That's what the world is. Like, sorry, that's what the world is. Number 2, Vito hates Riley. He's a fat nerd like Vito, but he's younger and has more money and bitches. This is an excuse to hurt Riley. Vito is melting down because it isn't working. I think it's more the first one, but I do think there's an element to that too. I would condemn Riley and Mint for bullying a friend. Yeah, he's a messy piggy, but that's why he's on a show. However, Vito threatened Riley with jail over a joke. You reap what you sow. Oink. If I have anything wrong, let me know in the comments. Update, Trixie and Vito discussed this article on stream. Vito says it is inaccurate and one-sided. He wants to talk to Dick on the phone. Dick refuses. Vito says there will be no show on Friday because he must defend his house. Let's reload and make sure that's the last update. It does look like it. And Riley here with $5 says, don't let Vito have distracted you from the article and the calls. This is a good stream. Thank you for being a friend and good night. Yes, indeed. Well, we have now finished the article. And yeah, it was very frustrating that he made it clear he would not let me read this without him arguing about it the whole fucking time. And I was like, I don't want to have a semantics debate with him. Like, that's the way he's really good at this particular manipulative tactic of getting you off in the weeds. It's the same thing Destiny does. He was trying to do the same thing to me that Destiny did. And that's why I kept getting so frustrated, because I don't want to let him do it. It's like, I don't want to argue with you about the thing you're trying to argue with me about. I'm trying to tell you something. I'm not even trying to argue with him. I was just trying to tell him, this is the way you behave. This is who you are. This is how you behave. And he won't grasp it. He won't listen to it. He needs specific examples so that he can defend himself in those specific cases so that he can be correct. And it's like, this isn't about that. It's not even an accusation, really. Like, you could be this person, and if you understood it and you were embracing of it, you'd be way easier to deal with. I am difficult. I tell people this. I'm like, the theme of this stream is that it's supposed to make you insane. I know there's a lot of, people who don't watch all the time right now, but like most of the time my live stream's theme is like, I'm going to make you all crazy. Watching this is going to drive you all insane. Like, I'm not trying to pretend I'm like a morally altruistic person who whose audience backs everything I say. And it's not a hug box. My stream isn't a hug box. It's like it's me screaming at you that you're wrong and I'm right, and you should be more like me. And you can take that or leave it, but I'm not here trying to I don't get upset if more people think if more of my chat thinks I'm wrong than thinks I'm right. I think chat is still wrong. It doesn't make me go and lose my cool about it like Vito does. All right, I'm becoming incomprehensible, and Bert is super passed out on the ground over here, so I'm going to drag him to bed. I'm sure this is going to keep going. I mean, I assume Riley's on his way. He lies about the calls because no one has gone over them autistically enough. Every word is subtitled. You just got to give it time, Riley. You got to understand this takes time because people have jobs and lives, and we're the only people who can actually obsess about this for 24 hours like that. And you have to give the top autists time to really pour over every word of it and get into the details of it because, it's percolating. And there's also a lot of people who just want to stand back and watch until they really see what's happening. I cannot debate semantics with Vito. I will just scream at him. It won't make any progress. If someone else, Frog Tony could do it. Frog Tony could go through it word by word and actually debate the semantics with that calm, lawyer-like, rational, masculine, we're going to focus on the words and what you said. I can only get upset with Vito. So, I'm waiting for the top autists, but they'll be there. This is, to me, this is a massive, catastrophic failure. I don't think Vito understands it yet. And I don't think a lot of y'all do either. Y'all in the audience, it's a matter of perspective. But the reason that me and Tony and EVS and other Tony have been so adamant talking about this with Vito is we think he's about to fuck his whole career up. We think he's actually going to end up leaving the internet. Because he is incapable of reconciling that he is wrong about this and that we're not going to change our minds. And when he decides that he can't participate in a system that doesn't think he's right about this thing, he's going to have to leave. He won't. Personally, I think that his boundary has already been hopscotched on all night. I mean, he was sitting there saying, I don't think it's okay to joke about breaking into my house while I was getting super chats that are joking about breaking into his house and he wasn't doing anything about it. So it's either the cognitive dissonance is so bad that he'll get over it and keep doing the job to make the money and somehow trick his own brain into forgetting about all this, or he's going to have to leave. And so we're all telling him hey, you're on the way out, right? This is the behavior that makes you leave the internet. And it's not going to be any of us who did it to you. It's you doing it to yourself. You're going to be the one who pulls the plug. You're going to be the one who leaves. You're going to be the one who says the internet's too much for me. All we did was let you know that you could have done something about it, Anyway, that's all for tonight. Good show. Thanks for coming out. See you next time.